Takes a second.
And I'm just going to let my fan play now.
We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this jam-packed episode in terms of people in the call. It's going to be really fun. Thanks for joining us live.
Next time we have Shams on the show, we should say it's a Shams-packed episode.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Put that one in.
I can't believe we haven't used that before. And my fan noise was playing, by the way. So
okay, I'll grab it.
The first 20 seconds of my file.
Okay. All right, is everyone good to go here? Let's do it.
Thanks all for coming like a hurricane, a wrecking ball. I'm solo parenting, and there was a meltdown that led to a late bedtime. I might just have to go check on the man upstairs.
Do you want to do that right now, or?
Well, I'm hearing footsteps, so I am gonna step away for a second.
Okay.
See what's going on? Okay.
No worries. Let's hang out with the people we got here. We got in the chat. Oh, I guess to introduce, I'll introduce when we actually start the show. But yeah, Team Jordan is actually Patrick, aka Tacos Overflow on the Discord. And then yeah, Chris is. Everyone's got like aliases here. Chris is actually Ace, who you might know. Discord of all these are all active. The way Brian and I like thought of who we should reach out to was like we went to that post that was it Kevin that made it of all the top commenters in their allied chats. Figured like those are people that probably know what's up, and and also obviously thanks so much for contributing,
or at least people who think they know what's up.
Sure. I guess that's true. Yeah, it might just be people who blow the most smoke. Yeah, and then we've got here Shams and Trevor. Oh yeah, we got a cool group here. Andy's in the chat. So Doom Orb as always. What should we talk about? I mean, like, I'm too like nervous to talk about my draft. It's like I got my own hand slap earlier today when my wife told me that I was talking about it too much. I was telling her about how I got sniped on. I was planning to take Sam Reinhart, and then he got taken the pick before me, and then I took Marchessault instead. And then I spent the next few hours trying to convince myself that Marchessault was actually better than Reinhardt anyway. And she was like, this is the most boring story I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I definitely have a draft widow.
That's funny. What should we talk about? I guess we got some time to kill here while we wait for Brian. I guess let's check out game day news. I wasn't prepared to be doing some chatter right at the start here. Oh, well, I don't really want. Well, okay. Columbus is playing today, so there's actually games. If I go to ESPN scoreboard, do we actually get to see the games? There's Columbus lines out. Gaudreau and Laine split up. Boone Jenner centering one line, Fantilli centering the next line. Interesting stuff. I'm sure short shifts will cover that in detail.
Anybody freaking out about Zibanejad?
So what, he just like kind of got tweaked something, or what's the latest there?
I don't know. I saw a tweet, and then or an Izit or whatever we say now. And then I think the coach said day-to-day upper body injury, so no details.
I mean, at least it's like super early, right? So they still have like the season doesn't start till October 10th, and now it's September 24th. So it's like 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks. And even if like, so I mean, how bad could it be if it's day to day? I mean, obviously teams have that where a player's day to day and then they miss like 2 months, but usually day to day just means like a week.
Just saying day to day doesn't mean it's day to day.
That's true.
I think the word choice that was in the reporter, and I'm sorry I don't remember the reporter's name, but the reporter that was describing what they saw happened made it seem a little bit concerning.
Did you take Zibanejad? Is that
I did not. It was between him, and I ended up going down to get Darlene at 23rd overall.
23rd. Yeah. Zibanejad was also someone I was looking at. I'm on the turn, so Zibanejad was taken right at the end of round 2, but then because of the third round reversal, I had the first pick in round 3, and I ended up. I probably would have taken Zibanejad actually if he wasn't taken. And then Darlene. It was like Darlene, Hamilton, and Zibanejad were the last 3 picks of round 2, which were all of my targets. So then I decided to just go for my man Eric Karlsson, and just hope that I didn't blow it for the.
I got him at. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, 3rd round as well. So I'm
a lot later.
I'm repping the podcast.
Nice. Okay, well now I just feel bad that I had to reach, but it's like I couldn't have gotten him otherwise. So we'll see. All right. Brian, how's everything? Is everything all right over there?
We're good. Well, for the time being.
Yeah, obviously just let us know if you need to go. Okay, so let's do this.
Here's my fan again. I think it's louder.
Oh no. Okay, well.
I ordered the mic. I got an email saying that it's delayed. So.
Oh, sad. Brian's gonna have the best mic, and I won't have to mute his or do a like background noise reduction anymore. I'm very excited. Okay, so let's do it. Yeah! Yes! Welcome everybody to the episode of the Keeping Karlsson Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the longest running fantasy hockey podcast in the world, hosted by two guys, one of whom is now the world's biggest Pittsburgh Penguins fan after drafting Karlsson and Tristan Jarry in the Cupful. I'm your host, Elon Dubrovsky, and with me are a few people. But first off, you know him, you love him, the fantasy hockey robot himself, Brian Com. Brian, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good, and I'm having a great time in the cupful drafts. Like we've had there's so much fun stuff that we've added this year, and this is not like a little infomercial, but like it's really genuinely exciting. Like we have our allied chat, so everybody drafting now has like a private room with the 40 odd other people who have the same draft position in the cupful. So like where your opponents can't see what you're talking about. So there's a lot of team strategy talk going on, which has added a lot of fun. We also have this like draft picks channel, like PICS, where people are sharing photos of where they physically are when they draft. We're seeing some
Brian
very
loves that
impressive,
stuff.
like I do. I like seeing where people are. We've had like some cottage photos. We've had a lot of like workstation. Oh, sorry. We've had a lot of workstation photos, seeing everybody's draft setups and like some other like fun and interesting locations that, well, I mean, like we had one with Stanley Cup, someone from Blackcomb, like on top of a mountain. Like it's been fun. So there's that
I'm glad
going
you're having
on.
a good time.
I'm having such a good time. And maybe too good a time because my pick timer is not where I'd love it to be, my average pick time, but like it's pretty good. I think I'm holding up safe for one pick so far. Anyway, we're having a great time. And cupful.com for anybody who's still kkupfl.com if you don't know what it is and want to learn about it. Whatever, we're having fun.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it. Glad you've been enjoying your weekend. And yeah, this is a classic episode. So first of all, Brian and I originally were planning to do a Yahoo rankings episode, which we do every year around this time, where we look at the Yahoo rankings and we, look at like which players are ranked too high and which players are ranked too low that people could use when they're strategizing for their Yahoo drafts. Because maybe some people go into their drafts and just like pick based on, the rankings. And so us like people in the know can like know like who we could bump up on down, whatever. Anyways, the last Short Shifts episode, it was amazing. Lewis and Jeremy kicked off the season of Short Shifts that dropped just Thursday, and check that out if you didn't hear it. But they talked about a bunch of players that have like weird, whack Yahoo rankings. It was kind of just like, you sound so stupid. Like Yahoo's just going too nuts with those rankings. Like I don't want to spend a whole episode just like looking at those. So then we decided to go to another episode classic. But anyways, check out that Short Shifts if you want to hear. So I think they covered the main ones anyways. They did a great job. So another episode we like to do every season is a classic draft that Brian and I made up when we were in elementary school, and we would do it every year with our friends. And the format is it's points only, and everyone in the draft is going to end up with one player per team, and whoever drafts the first pick in a round, they pick the team and the player, and then everyone else has to pick a player from that team. So you'll get it once we go. There's some fun strategy here with which team to pick. And we've got three awesome people on the call to join us for this draft. Brian mentioned those allied chats that we've been doing, and we looked at who have been the most active participants in their allied drafts, the people who are helping out the community, helping people out, talking a lot, clearly at least know a lot about fantasy hockey. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So let me just introduce the people on the call here. We've got three participants. First of all, from Tier 2 Ottawa, the highest ranking person on the call right now. You know him as Ace in the Discord. He's also a former Cupful champion a couple years ago. Chris, welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome to have you. Excited to meet you for the first time. Cool Devil's hat that you're repping. I know that Patrick here on the call will appreciate that since they have a good schedule this season. Because next up we've got Patrick, who we talked a lot about in the last episode that Brian and I did, where we were covering the NHL schedule and how you could use it to your advantage when you're drafting and when you're playing. And we mentioned Tacos Overflow, aka Patrick, a lot because he's been the one really letting us all know the benefits of wrapping your head around the schedule. And now we have him on the show. Patrick, my friend from Team Jordan Allied Chat. How's it going, Patrick?
It's going well. Thank you. Appreciate being on here today. That's great.
Yeah, awesome to have you. And then finally, you've heard him on the show before, back when we did a show about the Cupful last season, our league, and we were looking through all the feedback that people gave and discussing things we might change for the next season. And there were a lot of people wanting to know about our decision to use the third round reversal. And then we brought on this person who did a lot of research into whether or not it made sense to maybe penalize the people with the high picks in the first round. Anyways, it was a great appearance. And now we're getting him for the second time. It's Derek. Welcome back to the show, Derek.
Thanks, Elon. Happy to be here as well. Really loved this episode last year and excited to draft as part of it this time.
All right. So I think we might as well get into it because we obviously have a lot to get to here. We have 32 times 5 picks. I don't know if anyone wants to do the math for me there, but we'll see how this goes. So first of all, we need to determine the draft order. Actually, first of all, we should probably mention that we're presented by DobberHockey.com. Very proudly so. Go get their guide if you haven't yet. It's amazing. But okay, so I'm going to share my screen so people don't think I'm doing anything too naughty here. And I'm seeing here that my computer is telling me that I'm not currently set up to share the screen. So, okay, I think everyone should just trust me. Okay, I'm going to random.org and I've entered our 5 names as a list. Why would I cheat on something like this? Come on. Okay, so I'm clicking the randomize button. Here we go. The order is Chris, Brian, Elon, Derek, Patrick. So I'm going to put it into our spreadsheet here. Chris, Brian, Elon, Derek. Oh, Derek and Patrick were already 4th and 5th by the default. So that's easy. Okay. So that means that in the first round, Chris is going to be, let me give a couple caveats here. Okay. So first of all, it's points only. And it's like, injuries count, right? Like we're not doing point pace. It's like how many at the end of the day, at the end of the season, we're just going to add up points and that's it. So if you pick injured, injury prone players at your own risk, pick players who are currently injured at your own risk, take that into account. Also, we're going to have a minimum 5 defensemen that you have to take. All right, so we'll be keeping track. The spreadsheet keeps track. So by the end of the draft, please ensure you have at least 5 defensemen on your team of your 32 players. All right, everyone good? Let's do it. So Chris, over to you. You can see on the sheet so people can just chime in with their pick when it's their turn. But Chris is starting us off here. Where are we going?
So I'm going to keep it traditional. I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers.
And I guess there's not too much suspense for who your pick is going to be from the Edmonton Oilers.
It's going to be Connor McDavid, in case anyone's heard of him.
All right, so Brian, you could just chime in from now on, when it's your.
Okay.
You have the spreadsheet open? Yeah.
I'm
cool.
there. I believe it or not, I'm organized enough and I'm still present after such a long silence. But this is as easy as the first pick. And I appreciate Chris going with Edmonton because I get Leon Draisaitl, and I'm very, very happy about that.
Man, what a gift.
McDavid, by the way, do we have confirmation that he's gone first in all 40? What are we up to? 40, how many? Couple
leagues? Oh man, I haven't.
We have 644 managers this year.
So divide that by 14.
Another all-time high. 46 divisions, and not all 46 have started drafting. I think 44, 45 have. I haven't heard of McDavid now. You'd be nuts to not take McDavid first. But Draisaitl has actually been somebody who's who you might question exactly if he deserves to go as high. I was talking to some people who were thinking about Draisaitl as not a sure even top 4 option.
Yeah, I mean, with our scoring, shots are worth a lot, and maybe McKinnon or Matthews does more. Draisaitl still scores 50, so
yeah,
I would have gone Draisaitl if I had second overall, but I didn't. I had 14, and I guess I'll tell you who I picked when we get there. But so I've got 3rd pick here on the Oilers. It's an interesting choice, right? I think there's a clear 3rd forward, or I can just knock out one of my defensemen. Let's have some fun. No, I'll just take Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I'll let someone else knock out.
What would the fun have been?
The defenseman. I don't know.
Over Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I mean, they're both going to be on the power play.
Yeah, I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins 100+ points last year. I think we're all expecting him to regress, but I still expect him to have a good maybe 10, 15 points more than Bouchard. I think it's okay to name call out people here. I don't think anyone's think I'm talking about Matthias Ekholm. So I'll go Nuge. Over to Derek.
So I will take Evan Bouchard, and I will hopefully get some of that excellent Oilers power play.
I don't think there's a case in which you won't. I think, yeah.
And never be too confident.
I appreciate, you always have to, right? As a concerned and conscientious fantasy manager. Okay, so we've got McDavid, Draisaitl, RNH, Bouchard, and Patrick. Who's
Zach Hyman.
Zach Hyman. And is that because is that like a power play deployment assumption about him and Evander Kane, or?
Evander Kane's worthless to me.
Okay, because
he's just literally worthless, though, isn't he?
Right.
I mean, financially, he's had some troubles in the past.
Not from some images I've seen of him.
And
he looks pretty loaded.
Yeah. Once upon a time. Okay, well, that wraps up Edmonton in a nice little package. No controversy here. I guess I'm going to, it's my turn to pick a team, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, Elon knows that I really like to screw over other people in this format. That's how I won so often when we were younger. I found those weak spots, and I'm righting a wrong from my kick-up-full draft with this pick. I had the choice between Philip Forsberg and Connor Bedard, both below their ADP from mocks.
Oh, this is rude.
Forsberg was going like 8 or 9 picks later than Bedard. And I thought that if I saw Bedard at this point in my draft, I would take him. And I didn't. I went Forsberg, and it felt awful. Like, Forsberg is just like, the downside is safer, right? Like, I didn't have to worry as much, but also this is the kind of swing that if you take it in your draft and you hit, like, that could win championships, right? So this was 61st overall in the 5th round. And I regret not taking Bedard for the fun, although I think he'd still have to have like a pretty ridiculous, like a very good season just to match what I think Forsberg is capable of almost automatically. So anyway, I'm going to right this wrong now. And I want Connor Bedard on one team this year. And this might be the only way I get to do it because clearly, even when he does fall to a place I'm comfortable drafting him, I still won't. So I'm going to take Connor Bedard from Chicago. So Elon, you're lucky. You're getting second on Chicago. And I'm sorry, Chris, you did me that very big favor with Edmonton. And this is what you get.
I mean, 5th on most teams won't be that good. I guess we'll see who gets the best gift as a 5th pick as we go.
The spread between 1 and 5 is going to be one of the bigger ones.
You're not a big fan of Corey Perry this season?
Name 5 Chicago Blackhawks.
All right. Well, I just saw a tweet over on GameDayTweets.com that Hall has been playing on a line with Bedard. So that sounds pretty good. And I know it's one of Brian's favorite players. So how can I not listen to the the FHR himself? So yeah, let me just grab Taylor Hall here, throw it over to Derek.
I hate to do this to myself already, but I'm going D again, taking Seth Jones from the just excellent buffet of players that is the Chicago Blackhawks this year. And once again, hopefully he will benefit from the presence of Bedard and some of those other acquisitions.
I think just like as a point of order, like not off mic, I think if you hear, like, don't wait for us to throw, you don't, like, it's very polite, but you don't need to wait for us to throw to you. You can just go ahead and jump in after the pick is made with a comment or your pick.
Okay. Louis Reichel will be my pick.
Short and sweet.
Lucas Reichel.
Okay. I was hoping to get Reichel. And I agree there's a pretty big drop off here, but I'm going to go with Andreas Athanasiou.
Yep.
I have been seeing like some murmurings of like a Tyler Johnson top line potential, but he's also probably going to get injured and miss a lot of time. So I think Athanasiou was, I don't know, as good a pick as any. Anyways, I don't even know who would have been the next. I'm trying to think, like Reichel, Athanasiou. Yeah. So then, oh wait, Lucas Reichel. Yeah, I guess the other one is Radish that Dauber was super high on, thinking Radish is going to have like a
There's a
65
chance.
points, he said.
There's a chance he ends up on the power play. We also saw like Ryan Donato getting turned. Like there's a lot of guys who might. Right? Even Kevin Korchinski is like a deep. Like there's some deep cuts out there. But I think why not go with the hottest draft commodity of, was it just last season where Tyler Johnson was like top line, top power play, or was that 2 years ago now?
I definitely remember that though. Yeah, people were really stoked about him. I mean, hey, for the last pick of the draft, it wasn't like a hot draft commodity. Hopefully, for people to take like in the too early that they really would have regretted it. All right, so we're over to me. I think I want to go to New Jersey. I know there's a lot of good players here, but I think one of them is like a lot better than the others in terms of total points. So I am going to go Jack Hughes, who I'm expecting to get like 105-ish points. And I think next highest will be around maybe 75, 80. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'm going to New Jersey. I'm taking Jack Hughes. So we go to Derek.
Well, I'm going to hope for a little more than 75, and I'm going to go with Nico Hischier as my pick for number 2 from the Devils.
So Patrick, you could just jump in.
All right. Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton.
So we have just a reminder, we have like a minimum D requirement, right?
Yeah, 5D minimum.
Okay. That's a pretty good place to get one from, I think.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Brian's judging my pick. I can tell. I can see it in his face.
I'm just judging the moment where you said like he's going to finish like substantially above others.
How many points do you think that Hughes will get?
Yeah, no, I think I think you just undersold the other side. Like I think there's a couple guys with point per game potential in New Jersey this year.
Point per game is still far below what I think Hughes will do, but I guess we'll see. I mean, you didn't make fun of Chris taking McDavid.
The spread there is going to be smaller between Hughes and whoever versus
I blew it, Brian.
Bedard and Athanasiou, let me tell you.
All right, it's Chris's pick.
Well, as a Devils fan, I'm hoping they all do well this year, but I'm going to go Timo Meier. I think, he just got his new contract, so I'm hoping his deployment is pretty set and pretty safe, despite all the depth on New Jersey.
All right, and that leaves me with Jesper Bratt, 5th. Very I mean, it feels very you could have probably drafted these 4 after Hughes in nearly any order. At least that's the argument I would make. But I think Bratt has a non-zero chance of finishing second in scoring on the team. So
for what it's worth, Scott Cullen, I think, agrees with you. He put Bratt tied with Hischier for points for the year on his projections.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, if Scott Cullen's saying it, then there's got to be, I consider myself smart when I agree with Scott Cullen.
And the team is pretty stacked if Toffoli goes undrafted, who last year was like a 70+ point guy.
The Toffoli bubble was burst on the Dom show. Like Toffoli is now on everyone's do not draft list.
Oh yeah, because Dom said so. Except that then lines came out and Toffoli is lining up with Hughes. It's Hughes and Toffoli and Meier, was it?
Yeah, I think it was more a power play comment than anything.
Well, we'll see.
But we didn't talk about Toffoli and Mercer. Like there's 2 other guys that we didn't even get to have 60-point potential.
Yeah,
it's crazy. What a team.
I guess Chris picked a good horse here for who to cheer for. All right, Derek starts off the next round.
And I am going with David Pastrnak from the Boston Bruins. I actually also have Pastrnak in the Cupful. I took him at 6th overall, hoping for something similar to what he put up last year, although without the excellent center cast from last year in Boston, I'm a little concerned. I think that potentially Bergeron, being such a rock defensively, took on all the tough matchups. And, when Pastrnak was on his line, that allows Pastrnak to focus offensively. And when Pastrnak was on his own line, he was presumably not playing against the top competition. So without Bergeron and without Krejci, it seems a little tougher, but I still think he's got a pretty wide lead over the average of the next few picks.
And I will follow that up with Brad Marchand.
If I could interject here for a second, Brad Marchand, he's going pretty late, right? In drafts. And I'm not sure if that's right or not. Like whether he should be. Like I'm seeing I guess in my cupful division, he went after Jesper Bratt and Val Nichushkin. Who else went right before him? Kempe, Kane, just forwards, Caulfield. Does that sound right? Like Marchand has been so like, is this I guess I'm trying to figure out, to tease apart if this is because Marchand had a down year last year, or if it's because Bergeron's gone, or maybe a mix of both.
I would think it's a mix of both. Like
been a 100-point
about
player for 5 seasons essentially in a row, right? Until last year.
I think he started off last year well when he came back early from the injury, but then he kind of tailed off more towards the end of the year, as I recall.
Yeah, and they talked about on short shifts on Thursday or Friday that his numbers without Bergeron weren't very good compared to his numbers with Bergeron. So there is a lot of concern that maybe, being centered by Pavel Zacha will be a bit of a downgrade. But we'll see. Obviously, Marchand has proven his doubters wrong in the past, so we'll see how that turns out. All right, so over to Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Charlie McAvoy here and take my first defenseman. I think there is some concern because of last year in the top power play, Hampus Lindholm played a lot on it. But I think, again, relative to the team, I see a pretty big drop off after this. And, I do believe in McAvoy's talent. So I think he's going to get points and hopefully stay on that top power play most of the year.
Yeah, I like that. I was actually thinking I'd get the defenseman here. I was pretty happy to just like get one done with. But yeah, nice stape there, Chris. I'm going to that leaves me with Jake DeBrusk, the newly broken out Jake DeBrusk, who after so many years of not doing it has finally done it, and now he's going to have to do it in slightly different conditions. But he's still he turns 27 in October. He's still young. Do you know, last season was the first time he's paced for more than 50 points in a season. DeBrusk paced for 64 points over the course of 64 games. And I think he can just keep doing that, especially with more power play time, more shots. And we'll see how everyone will be, I think, similarly impacted by the loss of Bergeron. But I hope DeBrusk won't get hit too hard. If you hear any blinks in the background, by the way, that's I have some drafts open. Sorry.
Okay, on different devices than the one you're using here?
No, on this one.
Wouldn't they go into your headphones?
I don't really understand my audio setup.
Okay.
It does what I need it to do, but there's some quirks.
All right. Well, I have a draft open also, but I'm not picking for a bit because I did my 6th and 7th pick. I'm at the turn here. I'm 14, so I did pick 6 and 7. Was it? Yeah, 6 and 7 a couple hours ago. I spent my baby's whole second nap of the day, an hour and a half, just agonizing over the pick. And I didn't waste the clock, by the way. This was when I was 1 or 2 picks out. And then just as the nap ended, it was time for me to pick. And so now I think I'm done for the day, but I really wasted so much time just to end up with Marchessault and Tristan Jarry, which I think I'm okay with, but I just don't know if the time is worth the players.
Do you want to name the other guys you were considering? Are they already off the board?
Well, one was actually Sam Reinhart, who got taken the pick, as I was considering the guy right before me, Ryan, he took Sam Reinhart, so he was off the board. And then someone else I was considering is at the time of start of recording, I don't know if the draft open now hasn't been taken yet, so I probably shouldn't call that name out, but yeah, I was thinking of some defensemen maybe, but in the end I figured, and Jarry was I wasn't planning on taking a goalie so early, but I started looking at it and a bunch of goalies had been gone. And that's the thing, being on the turn is so tricky, right, Brian? Because there's gonna be 28 picks before my next pick. Who knows how many goalies are gonna go and who am I gonna be left with? And I'm still scarred from last year where I faded goalies in the cupful auction draft in tier 1, and I ended up, but I still actually spent too much. I faded and still spent too much. So I'm a genius auction drafter here. But I ended up with Merzlikins and Grubauer, who were both terrible. I know Grubauer turned it around at the end. And I was thinking yeah, I could end up with Merzlikins and Grubauer again, probably wait a few rounds. But I just feel once bitten, twice shy. So I feel Jarry has had his own issues, but he's the sure starter on what I think is a good team. I'm already riding and dying with Erik Karlsson, who I got in the 3rd round. So I feel if Karlsson stinks and Pittsburgh stinks, then whatever, I'm probably losing anyways. But if they're good, by the way, I need to get myself a Penguins hat. That's on the to-do list. But anyways, all that said, Brian, big lead up to my 5th pick on the Bruins. And you mentioned how DeBrusk had his breakout last year. Don't forget also our friend Pavel Zacha had his breakout last year. He had 57 points for the first time in his career after having a really high draft pedigree and not living up to it. And now he's the by default top line center, as far as I know. So yeah, gotta not leave Zach on draft. I could have taken Hampus Lindholm, grabbed one of my D. And I think there's a decent chance that Lindholm could be closer to McAvoy. Like, I don't think he'll like be as close as McAvoy, but he could like take some power play time like last year. But I don't know. I'm letting future Elon worry about the defense. So we'll see how that turns out. We go to Patrick to start the next round.
Okay, when I got the invite, I didn't quite understand the rules. And then Elon was kind enough to explain it to me. So the idea here is to draft well, but leave your opponents with little to work with. Do I have that right?
I mean, that's one possible strategy, or you could use the benevolent strategy of making friends.
So yeah, it's San Jose and I take Hurdle. Y'all have fun with that.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Okay.
All right,
All
Chris is
right.
up.
Quick name 4 more Sharks.
I'm gonna take Logan Couture. I think, again, I think deployment hopefully should be good. Great year last year. And yeah, I think there's relative drop off or tough decisions coming up with the rest of the team.
I guess you like one thing to be concerned about is like this lower body injury for Couture, who's like kind of an old man now, like he's 34 years old at the moment. But like, what else are you gonna do? I hear that. I'm gonna take the low risk, medium reward pick. I think. I don't know. I'm not sure how risky it is that Alexander Barabanov is going to lose top power play spot. Okay, table talk is fine, right? Because we're like Anthony Duclair is someone who I'm like, oh, could he like step up and do the things that Barabanov has not been able to do? So like that's something I'm curious about, and I know like neither one has even been on the top or like in the last lines that from game day tweets. Neither Duclair and Barabanov were playing with Hurdle. So like it's kind of a mess as Patrick gifted us with. But I think I will just take the easy route here, which is to take Barabanov, assuming he's not going to fade into obscurity because of a couple off-season acquisitions.
Okay, well, now I could have the opportunity to take my first defenseman, the obvious top power play guy onto. Oh wait, I have no idea which defenseman is going to do anything. No,
you had me. I'm like, what have I missed?
Clearly, Henry Thrun has got the job. It's guaranteed.
I mean, if I were picking 5th on San Jose, I would legit consider picking Thrun.
Okay, well, I'll just go Duclair. You mentioned him. I think he'll be on the top power play. I also considered, I'll just throw it out there. I know Derek's a smart guy, but so it's not as if I'm going to be like blowing something up here, but I was also considering Hoffman, but I feel like Hoffman gets injured a lot. So we'll see. I'm curious to see if Derek's going to go there.
I'm not going to go there. And I'm actually surprised because I didn't really know of this player until you guys mentioned him a few times, but William Eklund is going to be my choice here. I think he's at least on the same tier as everyone after Couture. So, and yeah, definitely not wasting a pick trying to guess a D on this one.
So I guess the risk is potentially him not making the team. That's the one thing that could hurt you, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
I mean, it's possible, but
yeah,
he played games last year, and I don't know. I guess it's a risk, but
yeah, but high reward for sure for the 5th pick on San Jose. All right, so we've each made one of our firsts, so I think it's a good time to take a quick break. We'll come back in just a second to keep Karlsson. All right, thanks for listening. Oh, stupid. Thanks for. All right, we are back. 5 picks down, 27 to go, and it's been a half hour. So do the math. We're doing great. Okay, over to Chris to start round 7 on our 1 player per team draft. Who are you thinking, Chris?
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm going to switch the strategy a little bit, and I'm going to start with Travis Konechny. I think a lot of people watched and saw him really break out last year. I'm not a full believer, but relative to the rest of the team, I think he really stands out, especially points only. And I, hoping for big things from him this year in relation to the steps he took forward last year.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, like it throws me off a little. And like I'm still trying to take a defenseman here, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen here because I've got to go with Couturier or Cam Atkinson. And like somehow could like I always marvel at how old Cam Atkinson is. He's 34, right? So Couturier is 4 years younger, but he's played so few games. But I don't think I can look past him here. So I'm gonna go for Couturier. It's like no one on Philadelphia, even Konechny, is really all that reliable health wise. So it doesn't feel like a huge relative risk. So I will take Sean Couturier second behind Travis Konechny.
Okay, so hopefully I'm not jinxing him here. I think the player I have my eyes on has not had injury issues in the past. I hope that will continue, but I'm not going to be going with Cam Atkinson. I would be nervous about the injury risk for someone who's missed so much time. I'm going to go Owen Tippett. I think he started his breakout last year, and I'm really curious to see what he's going to do this year. I think he's someone that, well, it's tricky. We're in the middle of a couple drafts right now, but I'll admit he's someone I have my eye on in the later rounds. Let's see if like Ryan snipes me again. But okay, so I guess I'm gifting Atkinson to Derek potentially if he wants to take it.
Yeah, I think I will go Atkinson, but it's not it like you said, it's a risk, and it seems like I'm taking a risky team so far here. So hopefully it'll all pan out.
And that leaves me with Morgan Frost. Not much else to go there.
I'm trying to think if I'm okay. I'm not after. Is that the end of the round?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
it
up now,
is.
Brian.
Okay, it is me.
I'll edit to after he said Morgan Frost.
Yeah. All right. Patrick with the stone cold pick. Morgan Frost. Huh? Okay, sorry. What's an episode without a forced terrible pun? Am I right? All right. So there's a few different places that I can go. And I think I'm gonna go to a team like in my like continuing search for a defenseman. I'm not really gonna miss getting one from Anaheim. Like I might, but I don't know that I would take the shot. And there's really only 2 forwards I want, so I might as well just get this one out of the way. And I guess I like, Zegras is always like I feel like he's the more exciting option because he's got the better upside and like a little more flair. But I think I'm going to go Troy Terry, and just assume that he'll also have another season of growth, and Zegras might surpass Terry. But I guess I'm just not 100% sure this will be the year. It's boring to take Terry over Zegras, but that's exactly what I am. So from Anaheim, I will take Troy Terry.
Trevor Zegras.
Would you have taken him first?
Probably. Like for points only. Like
Yeah.
obviously,
I mean-
we don't have to care about the center eligibility. We don't have to care about some other things. Trevor Zegras, I think, has that upside to just explode. I think he's around the 200 game mark. Sometimes players do that. So I'm super excited, but I'm much happier this way that I don't have to decide and I just get this awesome player. And then there's quite the drop off. So you hurt a lot of people, but you helped me. So Brian, mwah. I've been trying to teach my daughter. Mwah.
You're
She
welcome.
doesn't get it, but
Well, maybe it's just for you.
all right. So
So-
Derek.
That was rude. Sorry.
See, Zegras is interesting though, because we haven't seen an RFA contract dispute so publicly maybe in a while.
What about Jason Robertson last year?
I don't remember there ever being, specific numbers thrown out that were so far out
yeah.
of whack with what, it seems like to people like us, like he should be getting on his next deal.
Right. For anyone missing the context,
yeah.
like we heard like 4.5 million, right? For Z, which is like mind blowing. Like there's no, like that's clearly just negotiating in public, but like it seems pretty bad faith too. Like obviously he's worth more than that. Anyway, so now you have the context. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting position for Zegras because he's so marketable. He's an exciting player that the team should want. And yeah, they're going out and paying their vets pretty highly. And then seemingly trying to be a little stingy with him when he could both be the best player on the team and the most popular player on the team potentially. So it's an interesting, position to be in. And I hope that there isn't any kind of RFA holdout for him, but it does make it a little bit of a risk that it might have pushed me to take Terry instead of Secrets there if I had
That's a good
first pick.
point. Yeah,
But-
so I hope that that gets panned out for this pick. If I was Trevor Zegras' agent, I would be right away, just like, I'm not taking less than Alex Killorn. Like, that's just like number one. It's not happening. So we're starting at Killorn and only going up from there.
Yeah. In any event, I'll take for the third pick on Anaheim, Mason McTavish. And again, a young player. Again, I'm assuming he's gonna, stay on the team. Another 20-year-old. No, I think he's got the potential for a pretty big breakout this season too. So I'm going with him and excited to see how that goes.
And I guess we're leaving Alex Killorn for me. Not much to say about that pick.
Okay. I was hoping for Killorn and McTavish, and this pick is more, I think, just based on power play deployment and scraping for points. So I'm going to go with Cam Fowler. And I think, again, there's some concern. There's Jamie Drysdale, young defensive prospect that's now healthy. That could take the power play. I could see that. But right now, I think Fowler, based on last year and the rest of the team, that's my pick.
Yeah, one of Brian's least favorites, Cam Fowler.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in the old days / currently, you'd say, why do you hate Cam Fowler? I don't. I just recognize his limited upside. But also, that's pretty much what I would do here too. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I'm the only one without a defenseman. Oh, that's not true. Brian doesn't have one
No,
either.
I also don't have one.
All right. So I'm going to get on the board here. I'm going to
Wow.
just grab a defenseman as a first pick on a team. I took Philip Forsberg in my couple draft at the start of the 5th round, which I'm hoping will work out to me, but I do accept the fact that there's a bit of an injury risk here. So with that in mind, I think that there's a pretty decent chance that Roman Josi is going to lead his team in points just of all skaters. And plus, if I get to knock out a defenseman at the same time, and then also after those two, I'll be curious to know how the rest of the team even shakes out for this draft. So yeah, Derek, I think I make your pick easy, but I'm going to start with Roman Josi here in Nashville.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate the gift of Philip Forsberg, and not really much more to say other than sorry to the rest of the group here.
I like some people in Nashville, I'll just say.
I do too. And Tommy Novak will be my pick.
I feel like we all like guys in Nashville. We're just trying to yet to learn how much we like them. Like, there's a lot of he could maybe. So it seems like that feels like what this round is about to be, starting with that Novak pick. But sorry, Chris, it's your turn.
Yeah. So again, not the best draft position for this team, but I think you could go one of two ways here. I think there's a safer pick, and then there's the more upside pick and on the youth side. So I'm going to go safe. I'm going to go with Ryan O'Reilly. I think he's got a good chance to stay on the top power play and get some pretty good deployment.
Yeah, I think that's if he sticks with Forsberg, I think that's a pretty good guy. Okay, so who's left for me here? I've got Luke Evangelista, of course. And Juuso Parssinen and Philip Tomasino and Jakob, like a bunch of guys. Tyson Barrie could be just a way to get a defenseman. Is it possible that Nashville can run I'm going to gamedaytweets.com live on the show. Great resource, by the way, to see I haven't seen what their power play has looked like.
A lot of teams haven't really.
There's nothing
shown
there.
that yet.
There's one tweet. But Andrew Brunette said that the Forsberg O'Reilly Smith line was, quote, buzzing. Now I have to go back and see what guy named Cole Smith.
I was thinking at first Craig Smith. He was on Nashville for a while.
He was.
We used to talk about him on the pod.
I don't know how many guesses it would have taken anyone, but I have looked up his HockeyDB page is in my search history. So I've been there. He's been an AHL producer. No, I don't know.
Putting you down for Cole Smith.
This, well, I know you're just trying to move me along, which you should. I'm gonna go with the Elon special here, and take Cody Glass. Yeah,
the Elon special would have been Evangelista, just so you know. But Cody Glass is good too, I guess.
Yeah. It's a screwed up pick. I think Like I already think I've blown that.
I
Whatever.
think you could. We haven't moved on yet. Do you want to change it?
You know what? Just give me Tyson Berry.
Okay. Tyson
Just-
Berry.
I'm gonna get
Natural.
like 35 points out of this, which maybe I'm giving up 10 or 20, but I've got a defenseman covered.
Okay. Over
All
to
right.
Derek.
All
Should
right.
take-
Well, I'm gonna take another superstar in Kirill Kaprizov from Minnesota, and I'm kind of surprised actually seeing. I was keeping an eye on the Cupful mock draft ADPs the last few weeks, and I was a little surprised at how low he was going into the first round. I think that he had should have a strong case to kind of be mid first round pick. Mid late instead of like here, let me pull up my sheet here. I think based on the late mock data, his ADP was 11th, and that means some people are taking him even lower than that. I had him a bit higher in my I didn't have to make the decision. Like I said, got Pasternak, but I think if I was picking in the 8-9 range, I think Kaprizov would have been a hard one to pass up.
Well, you get him here as a consolation, Derek. So that's good. Fun choice. Over to Patrick.
I'm gonna take Joel Eriksson.
Ooh. All right. Sorry, I'm just gonna interject. I feel like that is that off script. I don't know if that's off. Do you feel like that's off script, Patrick?
No, not at all. I think he's gonna have a monster year.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I was actually planning on Joel Eriksson just based on assumptions, but I'm definitely going to be happy about taking Matt Boldy.
Okay. And that gives me Matt Zuccarello. I have no reservation. Like I feel like actually these last three, like Elon, you'll laugh. Like I think highly of Zuccarello. I think like Boldy has better upside. Eck might just be more certain, and Zuccarello is probably ranked fourth, but but now yeah, I'm happy to take Zuccarello. And Derek, you and I can cheer for Kirill Kaprizov together. I got him 10th in my couple division. It was between him and Kucherov, and I surprised myself and took Kaprizov, even though he didn't. Like Kucherov had the right wing eligibility, but going from our schedule episode and Patrick's thoughts that he shared on it, I decided I didn't want my first pick to be on Tampa, who has one of the worst schedules in the league. So Zuccarello, please.
Yeah, not something we have to worry about in this format where we're just getting
Yes.
up to 82 games, and no busy Saturday night concerns or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to maybe go off script. I think the more obvious pick here would be Ryan Hartman, who's been centering the first line. And I think the thing is, he gets bumped off the line. He gets injured. Like, I don't know. Ryan Hartman doesn't excite me. And this might be a dumb pick. Like, we'll see. All right. But Marcus Johansson joined the team at the deadline, got 18 points in 20 games. He was playing with Boldy. It was going well. Johansson's not that great in a format like a Cupful because he doesn't shoot much. But if he just dishes to Boldy and they continue what they were doing last year, I just have more confidence in Marcus Johansson than Ryan Hartman. So I don't know. When you talk next, you can let me know if that was something on your radar at all, or if you would have just gone Hartman.
Well, I'm going to talk next now.
Go for it.
If that's
Go
yeah. No, I think that's fine. I agree. Hartman seems like he can get bumped. Johansson was hot, super hot, too hot when he got to Minnesota, but it was like interesting to see him find, like, he's never been that great though. Like, right, when he was like power play 1 in Washington, like that was exciting for him, but that was also the like all of his relevance. And so like, yeah, I think I don't know, there's like it's weird to have so much unknown upside for a player as old. Like, how old is Marcus Johansson?
Well, he's 32. Here, Brian, let me give you an analogy.
Yeah.
What if I were to tell you that maybe Marcus Johansson is to Matt Boldy what Matt Zuccarello is to Kirill Kaprizov? Maybe it's like, it seemed like Zook's career was kind of on the downhill. Then all of a sudden he got paired up with Kaprizov, and next thing you know, he was getting like 90-point pace. So maybe Marcus Johansson, same thing. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see.
Yeah, and maybe, and like there was like that whole thing where like he wasn't happy playing. I'm trying to remember and make sure I get it straight now. He wasn't happy playing center, and he's getting to play wing in Minnesota. So yeah, That's I mean, like I might argue that Eck and Boldy are the pair, and Johansson's like the Ryan Hartman of the line. But hey, no argument. I think that's reasonable. I think I would have gone Hartman, but we've seen him get bumped. I feel
All right.
that.
Thanks, pal. Let's do Patrick now.
Let's go to Colorado. I'll take Nathan McKinnon.
Okay, so this, I guess, is a tough one based on, I mean, not in terms of talent or points, but in terms of I'm looking to put a defenseman on the board again. So I think I'm gonna hold off for now. I'm gonna go with Mikko Rantanen. And again, not much to say. I think he's pretty proven and proximity to all the other talent on the team.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. I'm relieved to get to choose. I would have been very happy for Rantanen, but Makar is a nice way to go here. I've made the case that Makar and Yossi aren't all that far apart in like a cupful point scheme or any scheme that rewards all of Yossi's shots, and Makar like has some injury history and like currency as well. Currency being like what's happening right now with Makar. So like I hope he's okay, and I hope he plays at least 70 games, but we'll see how he holds up over the year. But I'm still he's my defense from college. I can't pass him up here.
Man, that was a real like the top three feast, and then the next two have a huge bump. That's a bummer to have fourth on Colorado. Like a lot of talent here for sure, but I would have rather had Rantanen or Makar than the next choice. I guess I also similar to Chris, kind of have a forward versus defense decision, and I guess I'll knock out one of my second defenseman here. Give me Devon Taves, should be good for like 50, 55 points. I don't know how far back that would be from whoever is like the next best forward, who I guess Derek has some fun people to choose from.
I wouldn't have used fun to describe this person personally, but I will take Valerie Nikushin, and I hope it's just straight productivity like last season and not controversy like what happened after the season.
I read something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Elon.
Up to you.
Okay, fine. I read that like the whole thing had been squashed, which is like hard to do when you're keeping it private and not really sharing details and like what is kind of like a weird and sketchy situation. But it sounds like the team, like I saw a quote, I think it might have been from Bednar or Sakic. Someone was saying like, we're all ready to move on. And to me, that at least like fantasy hockey wise, that was reassuring for me, thinking that like, okay, I can basically assume that Nichushkin is going to produce where I would have assumed he would produce otherwise.
Yeah, I think he did get hurt last year. I guess there's like a slight injury concern, but yeah, I'm not worried about like this like off-season like off-ice stuff being a concern at the moment. Yeah, so yeah, Colorado's fun. Like I think there could have been some fun picks if we were doing further along, and I think there's some people that might still get taken in a couple drafts. Like I'll just throw out the latest lines from practice, which again is super early, so take it like with a grain of salt. But Drouin has been playing with McKinnon and Rantanen, and then Ryan Johansson has been centering Nichushkin and Lehkonen. So I feel like Johansson and Drouin probably won't get drafted in all leagues, but I think they're both interesting to me. So just keep those guys in mind, I guess, as you do your drafts. But now we're over to Chris to start the next round.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Washington Capitals, and I'm going to lead it off with Alex Ovechkin. I think, elite player. He's been around for a long time. And if there's one constant in Washington, it's that Ovechkin is going to get his points.
Well, thank you, Chris, because I get to put my money where my mouth is and take my boy, tier 2 defenseman, John Karlsson. Like, okay, fine, maybe tier 3. But I really, as everyone has heard, like I'm glad the little thing happened on the Dom show, because like now I felt like Elon, you and I work to agree a little more often now, and I felt like there wasn't like a clear flashpoint player like going into the season, but now there is one, and that's John Karlsson, and I am investing in him here in this draft.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick, definitely at this point. This is tricky for me. Like I'm like frantically going to game day lines, right, to see like who Ovi's playing with. And I see in the last practice or whatever, he was playing with Backstrom. I don't want Backstrom. Kuznetsov has been in such a doghouse, but and like he gets bumped off the power play, which stinks. But like, do I go Dylan Strome, who like I know like some people are super high on. Dauber was super high on him, but he's Dylan Strome. I don't love this. I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go Kuznetsov. Like, I guess he has the upside. I'll be curious to know what if Derek and Patrick would have taken someone else when they make their picks. Let me know if you would have taken whoever you take over Kuznetsov.
I would have taken Kuznetsov, and I really don't love the position of my options here. But I think I'm going to go with Dylan Strome. And I think that's, it may be contrast to some of my earlier picks, maybe a safer option amongst the choices I had left available here. I hope.
And
Okay.
that leaves Max Pacioretty for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess you're hoping that he'll come back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope so too. I have him in my dynasty league. People are making fun of me, by the way, in the Discord today, Brian, for like apparently every time I say something about my, I have a player in my dynasty league. It's like it's a joke now.
Well, like the clue is that like if you're bringing up somebody who is like completely irrelevant and no one has ever heard of, like it's like yes, you like Victor dropped him in your dynasty and you went to pick him up. Remember? There was a Sasha guy.
Oh,
there
yeah,
was
he
an
didn't work out.
Alex guy. Like I'm trying.
Alex Passion. He didn't work out.
Alex Passion.
He's long gone from my team.
There's also a guy whose name like sounded like Truth, but it's not.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Alex True, who was on.
Yeah.
He didn't work out either. He's not on my team anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys come and these guys go. All right. I'm gonna make my my pick here. I'm going to Arizona / Australia / some other city in North America, but probably Arizona for the next little while. And I'll take Clayton Keller, sticking with my strategy of picking from teams whose defensemen I am like I'm interested. I'm curious on Arizona, and I like honestly they'll both guys here might outplay Tyson Barrie handily, or at least just by a little. But yeah, that's about. I'm still going to go Clayton Keller. I think there's a really nice spread that he's got on the rest of the team, although there's some exciting options, some very interesting and exciting options in the desert this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded going third. Like I think there's some more fun to be had, but at the end of the day, I guess I've got to go Schmaltz. But I am worried about him getting injured because that seems to happen a lot. And I mean, I won't call names out, but there's someone that I'm very excited about on Arizona that had a really nice highlight reel goal. If that doesn't give it away, let's see if Derek takes him.
I will give it away. I will call it out and give me first-born son of Australia, new favorite player in Melbourne hockey history, and that is Logan Cooley. After his highlight reel goal during the preseason game there at Rod Laver Arena, known as the home of the Australian Open tennis tournament, reconfigured for that for those preseason hockey games.
Hey, want to take a guess? Anyone on the call here? After that goal, I went on Twitter and I searched for Cooley. And what do you think was the most like common theme of tweet I saw about Cooley after that goal? Like, what was the most common thing I was seeing over and over again on the tweets about Cooley? Maybe it's harder to guess than I thought.
I don't know.
Anyone else? Okay, it was Montreal fans being like, "We could have had him, and we took Slavkov." Like, just they're so mad. And after that goal, it was like infinite tweets. Just search for Cooley Slavkovsky, and you'll have fun for the rest of the night seeing all these angry people. So, all right, Patrick, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna do Jason Zucker.
Yeah, probably Cooley's winger for start the year. That's how the lines have been looking so far. I'm really excited to see how that second line turns out. I think Arizona might be good. I don't know. I guess a lot of people say that and they get burned, but they've got some exciting players for sure. And still some left for Chris to take. It's not like the olden days where fifth on Arizona would be a punishment.
So I think I'm going to go with Barrett Hayton here. Top line, top power play. Obviously, I feel a little security with the pick based on last year. And his proximity to Keller is what I'm hoping sticks.
Okay, so now I think it's a good pick, and he had a really strong end to the year. I think Hayton versus Cooley for this season will be fun to watch in terms of who ends up being the better fantasy asset. Long term, I think it's Cooley, but yeah, for one more year, maybe you're better off with Hayton on the top line, like he ended last year. All right, so we're back to me now to start the next round, and I've got to pick a team here, and I'm clearly stalling for just a second, but I think I know where I want to go. This is another one where I don't think anyone's going to be too disappointed with who they end up with, but I just want to get my guy, and I'm giving a bit of a gift to Derek again, but I'll take Florida, and I'll take Matthew Tkachuk. I will say that if this was like a point pace type thing, I'd be like maybe not as excited to take Tkachuk, because I think I still would be excited to take Tkachuk, but like Alex Barkov obviously is like really great as well, but Barkov always misses a lot of time, so I think Derek's going to get a ding here. I think you're happy to get Barkov, but still I don't mind having the spread. I think Tkachuk is going to be a 100+ point player, and I think Barkov will probably be like point per game, maybe even higher, but it might be like 70 points in 80 games type of thing. So over to you, Derek, to take Barkov.
Yeah, Barkov could be due for a bounce back. He has had injury trouble the last couple years, and that people think of that now as that's how he's always been. He did have a few healthy seasons before then, and I'm hoping he can get back to that, but I get kind of nervous sometimes once a player gets a big UFA years contract, and then he's not falling off. He's still an amazing player, but you're no longer maybe feeling so incentivized to play through your injuries and make it into every game, get your stats maxed out as much as possible, and if you're also on a team that's prioritizing playoff success, maybe individual success during the regular season becomes a secondary consideration. You want to rest. So yeah, I am a little worried on Barkov, and I actually have Barkov as sort of my lead player in a keeper league, and although he's being supplanted in that keeper league by Jack Hughes as my prized asset, but no, I think he can come back. I hope that he stays healthy all year, and if so, I'll be really happy with that pick.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Patrick, you're up on Florida. Oh, sorry, Patrick, you're muted.
There we go. I'll get a defenseman out of the way. Go Brandon Montour.
All right, Patrick going a little risky here with Pacioretty and Montour. I guess you're hoping that these are superhuman professional athletes that can heal maybe faster than their timelines. It's happened last year with Marchand and Pasternak. They came back pretty quickly. All right, Chris's turn.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Sam Reinhart. For points, I think this is the pick. I thought I might be choosing between Montour and Ekblad, and again, making a bet on who's going to get top power play, and then also with injury considerations. So I will pass on the defenseman dilemma here, and I will go with Sam Reinhart.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. Okay, which leaves me with I guess I have a choice of defense or forward, and I'm dying with Tyson Barrie, so I can live with Carter Verhaeghe. I think that's the Verhaeghe. So that's the trade-off I'm making here, and I think that's like we've had some pretty good, like Barrett Hayton was a good fifth, and Pacioretty could be a good fifth, and Nichushkin was a good. We're having a lot of strong fifths lately. That's nice. I wonder if and when the trend will end. But Carter Verhaeghe, so good, and the secret's out on him too. Like he's going as high in drafts as he should. But like just to like take a moment, because like I don't know, to recognize where he's come from. He's 28. This is age 28 season. It's going to be only his fifth full season in the NHL, and his very first season as a rookie, he played 52 games with Tampa, averaged less than 10 minutes a game. And then he moved on to Florida, and the rest is history. So it's amazing to see what some guys just need, which is an opportunity. Some guys won't do anything with it, and some guys will. And guys like Carter Verhaeghe make me wonder how many other like amazing careers we might have missed out on. But I'm glad we get Verhaeghe's.
I think John Gibson is one of those amazing careers we've missed out on, but for different
Oh.
reasons.
Okay, that's like a really funny name to just like jump to mind after that. Like
I don't know. He's been like my guy in my
that
head.
Conversation.
Like anytime anyone talks about like people who could have had an amazing career, like he jumps to my mind. I just feel like what could have been like John Gibson.
Yeah.
Anyways, off topic because we're not talking goalies this episode. Over to Derek. Except I guess I mentioned that I picked Tristan Jarry. That was the only goalie talk allowed.
Well, I am picking first again here, and I am going to go with Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I probably, if it hadn't been picked last round, I would have taken Matthew Tkachuk in Florida on this pick. So I'm glad I got Barkov there. Sorry, Patrick, that I wasn't able to gift you maybe a standout number 2, but take it away. Who are you going to take?
I'm absolutely very, very happy with Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, that leaves me with I'll take Braden Point. I think again, top 3 on this team, maybe a little bit of a drop off, or probably a pretty big drop off after. So seems like a no brainer.
Yeah. I mean, like I was actually, I'm not sure. Like at one point, I'm like, oh, Point and Stamkos, I don't need to decide. No big deal. And now, like I'm looking at what's like, it's not bad. You know, I've got Hedman and Sergachev. I could add another defenseman, or I've got Brendan Hagel, who's looking like he's in a pretty juicy spot to produce this year. And he's someone else who, like, I think he had more opportunity than Verhaeghe leading up and was younger by the time he got it. But he was sort of like a fitting a checking line role in Chicago until Tampa was like, I guess we can use you as an offensive player. So I think, I need 2 more defensemen. I still have over half the league. I'm going to go Brendan Hagel.
Okay, well that makes my choice difficult but easy. Like I know I'll take one of those defensemen now, because who would be the next forward to take on Tampa Bay? Connor Sherry's been getting some line rushes with Steven Stamkos on the second line, so that's interesting. But yeah, Hagel with Kucherov and Point all season, and on the top power play could be a really good pick here for Brian, but also like for people who take him in fantasy, if you believe that it's going to last, which I think there's pretty decent reason to believe that could last because there's not Killorn in the picture to maybe take his spot. No Palat from a couple years ago. Okay. I'll just go Hedman. I know there's like reasons to take Sergachev for sure, but he's Victor freaking Hedman. I'm not leaving him undrafted. I'll give him one more year. Next year, we'll see if he still gets drafted when we do this same format. Okay, over to Patrick. And yeah, to finally get us to halfway through the league. It's been over an hour. Okay, we'll see how this goes, but we're not too far behind. We're a little bit behind, but that's okay because we've had some great fun along the way.
All right, we're going to go to the Great Northwest, and I'm taking Elias Peterson from Vancouver.
Okay, that leaves me. I'm going to go with, all right, so I think I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here and lean towards a personal favorite. This is a player that in the cupful I held on to last year when the hype died down, and it could be a controversial pick, but it paid off for me. So I'm going to go with Andrei Kuzmenko. I think the upside is definitely viable. There's some questions about his advanced stats that I've been reading about, but again, I'm going to stay loyal to who got me through last year.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Well, like obviously,
Someone
it's
grab that audio.
It's Quinn Hughes or JT Miller. And I'm just trying to see, like, Hughes, I feel like pretty confident he can manage point per game, but Miller's got like 100-point upside. Part of me wants to like count Elon's defenseman and just see what would make him
I have 3
more unhappy.
I'm good either
So
way.
we're both in I honestly, Elon, you want to trade you want me to trade you this pick and we can trade back later?
No, I'm fine. I'll just take
No.
whoever. I'll take your leftovers. I'm not dying to trade up here.
I'll take JT Miller. I'm happy with that.
Give me Quinn Hughes. I'm golden. I already got Miller in my dynasty league. I don't need him twice.
Yeah, actually, I feel I already regret it. Like
Oh,
I'm
this one
just
I'm
like,
not letting you do a take back.
no, that's okay. Like I'm looking at like Miller's point paces. Yeah, I made a mistake. That was a mistake.
Why is it a
for sure.
mistake? You don't think
Well,
Miller's going to do that well?
in my mind, I still think of him as having that 100-point upside that we saw in 21-22. And I just don't know how accurate, how strongly I feel about that. Like how, if I feel strongly enough that he can like create the distance between himself and Hughes. Like I was sort of counting on like I'll be backed into a defenseman that's an obvious choice. So we'll see if I get lucky enough for that to happen. But I
I think I can make you feel better, Brian.
Okay.
I don't recall if we brought him up on the Green Boys episode, but JT Miller had like 26 points in 20 games to end the year. Like all of Vancouver like stunk at the beginning. Actually, Miller was really good at the beginning. 24 points in his first 22.
He was the only player doing well, and he was the one everybody hated. It was like a really weird scenario.
Yeah.
And like, remember, he was like, wasn't there clips of him like shouting at his teammates?
Oh, Colin Delia. He was mad that Colin Delia didn't leave the net when they were trying to pull the goalie. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think
he's good.
That's kind of you to say, Elon. We'll see. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure it's likely enough that he'll outperform Hughes by more than 10 points, which makes this. Yeah. All right. Anyway, enough about me.
Let's go to Chris.
So deciding between two teams, I think I'm gonna
Sorry, I typed it in the sheet. But I didn't actually say my pick. So yeah, I was pretty confident Brian and Elon were going to take Miller and Hughes. In fact, I was confident that I wasn't going to get any of the real top four, and so I typed in Brock Besser a while ago into the sheet as my 5th pick for Vancouver.
I've heard some stuff like I guess he's like one of these players that's just like has always had huge upside and has had some like personal issues and injury. Like, so maybe this is the year where he finally like puts it together. I wouldn't be shocked if Besser does well. I think he's getting good deployment in training camp. So I think it's a solid guy to get as a 5th. Brian was complimenting all the other 5ths. Didn't mention Marcus Johansson or Pavel Zacha. Not very nice, but okay. Now, Chris, it is officially your turn. Before we get to it, we're about halfway done here. So let's take a quick break. You're listening to Keeping Karlsson. All right, we are back. We're halfway through. We all have different numbers of defensemen. Looks like I have 4 now all of a sudden after that Quinn Hughes, and I only need to have 5. So I'm cruising here. Chris, you're at the bottom with 2, tied with actually Derek and Patrick also only have 2 defensemen. So, I mean, we made it pretty lax, only requiring 5. So I don't think anyone's going to be struggling too much. But Chris, are you grabbing a D right away right now?
I'm actually not. I'm going to try and just go for best player available and maybe recoup some of the points that I might lose having Cam Fowler. And I'll go with Austin Matthews.
Okay. So I think it's pretty easy for me. I'm just like double checking. Yeah, I'll go with Mitch Marner.
All right. Well, then I think it is less easy for me. Not that it's like the kind of thing I need to stress too much about, but I'll go Nylander. A lot of people I'll just mention this, by the way. People are freaking out right now. A lot of we got the line combo and like this like word that they're going to try Nylander as the 3rd line center. People think that this is like, skies falling for Nylander, which I understand the concern. For what it's worth, I'm personally not that concerned. Like, first of all, if like Nylander's on one line and Tavares is on the other line, is it even like line 3 or is it just 2 line 2s? And they're just like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's like line 3. I think they're both like similar. And I also think that, he's going to feast on the power play. And I think that Nylander is good enough that like I would be more worried about the ice time, right? Like if he's getting 3rd line ice time, then like I'd be concerned about Nylander, but I think he's still going to get like a lot of time. So even if that happens, I'm not that worried, to be honest. And I'd maybe be more worried about John Tavares losing Nylander, to be honest. So, but anyway, Brian took Marner. I'm taking Nylander, and I think we know who Derek's going to take.
Yeah, I'm happy on this one for a couple of reasons. Firstly, getting a career point per game player in the 4th pick is, I think, pretty good. I'm not too worried about line changes messing with things there. I think regardless, he should do well. And I am a Leafs fan, and my team name in the Cupful is the Tavares Nabu Fighters, which is a reference to the very when John Tavares signed in Toronto, he posted a picture of himself that was often referred to as like Leafs pajamas, but it was actually his Leafs comforter on top. And I had a very similar comforter when I was about the same age. And in that picture of him at the top of his bed, just behind his head, there's a Star Wars Episode 1 Naboo fighter of the form that Anakin Skywalker flew to blow up the Trade Federation control ship at the end of Star Wars Episode 1. And I just found that entire picture very moving when he did post it. I know a lot of people made fun of him, but I personally really enjoyed it, and I love that little nerd reference in his first Leafs post image. So anyway, I'm taking John Tavares, and I am very happy about it.
These jocks, they're just like us.
And I will grab another defenseman, Morgan Riley.
We did see some practice lines of Klingberg on the top power play, but again, this is so early in training camp. I wouldn't
Yes.
Yeah, but you never know. It's something to keep in mind. I don't think you made the wrong pick by any means, Patrick, but I think just something I wanted to mention on the show in case people are curious. What's the latest? All right, so now we're up to Brian to start the next round.
Okay, I am going to go to St. Louis, and I'm going to take Pavel Buchnevich as my first. I think the first 3 picks are all pretty close, and I think there's still like a decent 5 here, but it's a team that I wouldn't be so thrilled to end up with 5th on. So there you go. Buchnevich from St. Louis.
Cool. This is like a rare format where I would be interested in Rob Thomas because he only gets assists and he doesn't shoot. But if we're doing points only, I mean, there's lots of good options. Like Brian said, Brian, you've been pretty good to me. I feel like
I've been very good to you.
I was ready for you to the person that I'm actually most mad at is like Derek, who I've been giving gifts to. And then he's like sometimes saddling me with some like not exciting 5ths. But yeah, you've been great, Brian. I appreciate it. But yeah, Derek, I think Derek's going to do pretty well here.
Yeah, I'm happy to take Jordan Kyrou, the 3rd pick here, and I don't watch St. Louis probably enough to give definitive opinions, but it seems like he could be in the running for the top, point getter on that team.
Honestly, like I think it could be like the 3 that have just been picked could all be like between 80 and 85. Like it's something super close between the 3. And then a bit of a dip for Patrick, I think.
I think Braden Shen.
New captain.
Yep.
Captain Shen. Okay. Chris, you're going to grab a D here. It's a tricky one.
I'm considering it, but I think I'm going to try and still prioritize points and try and get defenseman later. So I'm going to take a swing on another personal favorite of mine, not to give away a couple targets, but Jacob Verana. I think when he's been on the ice, he's looked like a sniper. If he gets the right deployment, everything falls the right way. I think he could really sort of ascend into what people have said he could be. So I'm looking for big things, and I hope to get some defensemen later.
Okay, so we're coming up to me now to take the first pick in the round. There's a team I'm looking at that I don't want to get 5th on. So I wonder if can I like make some chat? Like, can I talk with Derek? Is this allowed? Like for me to be like, I'll give you a good one.
No, no. Well, after you just thanked me for all the gifts you're giving me,
I'll still give you someone good. But okay,
I don't think so. You're gonna give me the team with the 5th you really don't want.
No, I don't. I won't. I'm just saying I don't want Derek to take that team. Like I would only take it if Derek promises.
Okay, without naming teams, like what is exactly the offer that you're looking to try and like finagle here?
Like I'll tell Derek that I'm going to give him a really good 2nd pick here if he doesn't take Dallas. That's basically what I
wait.
Is that allowed?
You said without naming the teams.
All right. I won't take Dallas, and I'm just going to trust that Derek is a friend and would be nice to his friend. And I'll just go to a team that has a lot of good players. And so I don't think he'll be disappointed. Maybe a little. I don't know. Carolina Hurricanes. I'll take Sebastian Aho. Brian, you're muted. I hope you're saying nice things.
I feel like you were stalling because you were still leaving open the possibility of going. I forgot about Dallas. I forgot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now, Derek, enjoy your pristine 2nd pick on Carolina, and we'll see how it goes in the next round.
Well, thank you for your kind offer, and don't hate me too much when I pick Dallas in the next round. But for pick 2 on Carolina. I'm gonna go Svechnikov, and I don't feel like that should be a risk, but I don't know. For some reason, the multiple sources I'm considering here, there's some doubt that makes sense as the next pick. But I think he's Carolina, as is often discussed, really spreads the wealth, spreads the love in terms of ice time opportunities, and Svechnikov maybe hasn't broken out to the extent people thought he would, partly because of that. But I think he should be due, and I think he should be at the very least a safe pick for the number 2 spot here.
And I will take Martinez, just like I did in the Cupful today.
Oh, what round was that?
7, 6, end of 6.
6 and 7. Okay.
Okay.
I guess we'll see how it goes next year.
I'm going to go defenseman now, and I'll take Brent Burns. I think he's safe on top power play. I think I saw some reports they're trying out Tony DeAngelo also on the top power play, but I don't see it as a risk of completely supplanting Burns.
Yeah, I actually saw that as like really encouraging for Brent Burns' fantasy value. That like I feel like he's either going to be on the top unit with DeAngelo, or he's going to be on the top unit without DeAngelo. And of course,
Like, what I'd be curious to know what makes you think that. Like,
I
just
don't
'cause they're
know.
trying. What if they just next try DeAngelo without Burns?
Yeah, I mean, like it's definitely possible. Well, because if you have Tony DeAngelo, what do you have him for if he's not just going to quarterback your top power play? I guess
Exactly.
I could just see him as like, and I think I might have said this before, as like a 7th defenseman who like comes in and out of the lineup, and maybe when he's in, he takes the job, and when he's out, he doesn't have a job. And
Are we like underselling Tony DeAngelo a little bit? Like, I know he's not great defensively, but I don't think he's
No, I
so
don't.
terrible that like he's only good for power. Like, I think he's a good offensive defenseman at even strength too. I think like these past couple years, he's had a decent number of even strength points as well.
So
I don't think he's, like, so terrible.
he does help the offense, but he's a net loss based on how like his defense is like worst percentile of the league.
What about his last year that he was in Carolina? What was his defense? Can you bring that number up, Brian? Like, and see how bad he was defensively there in that system.
Yeah, hang on. So for anyone wondering, I'm on Hockey Viz, which we credit at the end of every show. And oh, sorry, I actually might need a second here to find.
Okay, well, while you're
I clicked
out,
the wrong button. Here, I got it.
Okay.
And his last year in Carolina was not as disastrous defensively and was better offensively. But curiously, Elon, his power play impact was like nada. He did not have a positive impact on the power play. Like,
so I guess
doesn't
that discount what you said then? If you're saying they only would have gotten him for the power play, it sounds like he didn't even help them that much on the power play. He helped them.
So maybe they want some 5-on-5 offense. But again, you're trading off some defense, although I think he was a net positive in Carolina the first time around. So
Plus whatever. They've got Orlov and they've got Slavin. Like, they've got people to.
That's it. They'll put some. So I guess like, so I'm trying to figure out if I will take DeAngelo or if I'll go like, I don't know. I could like go Bunting or Kaniemi. Both feel a little boring and a little safe. I guess there's also Jarvis. But we're definitely at the part of the Carolina lineup where things get soft. So I'll take Tony here.
All right, Brian's got his 4th D, and we're over to Derek
after saying that he might be scratched several games.
I also think that I know that Derek's now going to take Dallas, but I felt like it was more important for me to make good content for the listeners than to win this draft. So when I lose, everyone remember that at least you enjoyed this episode.
I appreciate good content, and I appreciate you saying that I'm a friend, and I hope that you would. I would consider you a friend as well, given the the opportunities we've had to work together on the show so far, and in the Discord community. I wouldn't have gone to Dallas just because you said it. I wouldn't do that vindictively, and I tried as much as possible to not give any kind of visual cue as you were making your pitch that I would be amenable or not. I tried to just keep a straight face, but Dallas was top of my list for this pick, so I am going to take it, and I am going to take Jason Robertson, who is probably the greatest single contributor to my Cupful success last season. As we discussed earlier, he had the RFA potential holdout. It didn't even end up going into the season, but the concern about him not signing a deal led to him falling, and he actually fell all the way to me in the 4th round, where I was able to get Jason Robertson 4th round, and he just blew it out of the water last year. So great pick for me there, and hopefully this season as well.
And that leaves me with the Rupe Hintz.
Okay, so I think, again, I'm between two here. I think that there's obvious pick for defenseman. I could take Heiskanen. But I do love chasing upside. It might be that I play Dynasty too much, like Elon. But so I'm gonna go with Wyatt Johnston. I was not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn. I thought you were going to make my job really. Do you hear the joy in Elon's voice, by the way? Like I'm not looking at Elon's camera right now, but I know the face he makes in these situations.
I mean, hey, like, well, now I'm interested, Chris, like, do you think Johnston, like, what kind of season are you expecting from him this season? I know he's a high pedigree guy.
Yeah, so he was a top prospect. I didn't know a lot about him until I was doing some research for a Dynasty draft over the past offseason. And the end of last year, and I think the playoffs, he was on fire. And I think he ended, maybe it was 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting. So it's all chasing upside here. It's probably ignoring all the comments I've made about deployment and top power play. But I think going safer in those situations, I'm going to chase the upside here with Johnston and just go off the pedigree and the talent.
All right. That'll be a fun one to follow, like, throughout the season.
Yeah. And Wyatt Johnston, like, he did, like, he looked great in the playoffs. I guess it's just a matter of, like, to me in Dallas, it's still like, are you on the top line or are you not? And I'm concerned he isn't. He's also like on a bit of a shooting percentage bender at one point in the season. Like, the other run where he caught attention was like in March, where Johnston had 7 goals in 9 games, but they came on 23 shots. But one positive thing in the playoffs is that in 19 games played, Johnston took 3 or more shots 10 times, and he took 5 or more shots 5 times. So that's pretty good. Like, if Johnston can keep getting those opportunities to fire away. Of course, one of those games was he saw over 26 minutes of ice. It was an overtime game. But hey, I like someone's got to have a hot take on this episode. So
yeah, before the hottest take was me taking Marcus Johansson instead of like Ryan Hartman. So I guess this beats it now.
Yeah, I mean, my hottest pick was Barry over everyone. And I regret it now, because here's Miro Heiskanen, and I'm gonna take Miro Heiskanen, and now I think I have 5 defensemen and still like 13 teams left. So I pay too much attention to the defenseman minimum. I think we should all be able to trade 1/5 pick. Don't you agree?
I would generally agree, except for it's 9:30 and we were supposed to be done at 10, and you just said we have 13 teams to go. So I think we should probably just push forward here. All right, so I get 5th here. Brian, speaking of players who had a bit of a high shooting percentage bender, I don't know if you remember the early days of keeping Karlsson, maybe season 2 or season 1. And I was making a keeper decision in one of my leagues, and we made it public on the show. This is for like only the real diehards from back at the start. And I was deciding between Paul Stastny and Joe Pavelski. And Pavelski had this huge breakout season. He scored 40 goals in 2013-14. And I remember on the show, you were talking about how like he had a 17.9% shooting percentage, way higher than he'd ever done in his career. And that was screaming regression. And this was like one of my first introductions to like these advanced stats and how like you should pay attention to that. And so I was like a little bit concerned. At the end, it ended up being like a big debate, Pavelski or Stastny. And in the end, I think I kept Pavelski, even though you recommended Stastny. So then we were like, oh, we'll watch next year and see. And then luckily for me, Pavelski upped his shots, which is a great way to mitigate a potential drop in shooting percentage. So maybe Wyatt Johnston could do the same. All this to say, one way to not have your shooting percentage going down hurt you so much is to just shoot more. And I think Wyatt Johnston is at a point in his career where we could expect, I don't think he's taken the most shots of his career in his like rookie season, right? So hopefully that goes up to help. And all that also to say that I will take Joe Pavelski as the best 5th taken. I think,
What was
so
what was
far.
really interesting about that like big Pavelski breakout season at 5-on-5 anyway, like he was on a downward trend for shots. Like his shot rates and shot attempt rates were the lowest of his career to date. His shooting percentage was the highest of his career to date. His expected goals rates were amongst the lowest of his career to date. So things did look really clearly like they were going in the wrong direction. But then what Pavelski has done since was basically copy that season. Every season since, like his shot rates have never recovered to where they were. He was a heavy shooter his first several years in the league, and his shooting percentage has shown that he can be at like 15% at 5-on-5 every other season. Of course, some power play fortune also helped him forward that year. But yeah, what a callback. And Elon, I'm glad you took Pavelski, because like otherwise, I don't know if you would have forgiven me yet. But how happy are you to have Pavelski at 5 and Aho at 1?
All is forgiven. All is
Everything's
forgiven
coming
to
up,
Derek.
Elon.
Because I would have been dumb. I would have probably taken Jamie Benn, and if Chris took, whatever, Heiskanen, and then you would have taken Pavelski, and then I would have probably taken Ben. And at the end of the year, Wyatt Johnson probably does better than Ben, because Chris is like I said, the highest ranked of all of us on tier 2 of the couple, tier 2 Ottawa, a place where I sowed my oats in my youth, and now I feel confident that Chris knows what he's talking about, and Wyatt Johnson would have been the pick, so I don't have to worry about having made a bad pick here. So okay, okay, Patrick, over to you to start the whatever here, round 20.
So we're gonna go to Ottawa, and I will take Brady Tkachuk.
I think it's pretty clear for me. I'm going to go Tim Stützle. Again, young player, but also proven really good last year. And I'm again hoping for him to keep moving forward and progressing. And it's just, I think the sky's the limit.
You're muted, Brian.
Oh, sorry. And this puts me in an interesting spot. I thought Ottawa was going to be the last team taken. Like there just seemed like enough there that no one would feel so strongly about getting the first pick. Yeah, it's pretty close. I'm deciding just between a couple guys. So Elon, you'll be pretty happy. But I talked at length maybe about a month ago now about how Drake Batherson still had a decent season despite seeing like the worst luck everywhere. So I think I'm going to follow that take and say Josh Norris injury, I think he's fine, but I'm sure he's fine. But I just don't want to, get stuck in the middle. Plus, maybe he's 2C now that Stützle has emerged. So yeah, give me Drake Batherson, please.
I have done it. You're welcome. Yeah, so I'm not going to thank you because if you would have left me Batherson, I would have been happy also. But I gotta go Claude Giroux. I'm sticking with the oldies lately. I got Pavelski, I got Giroux. I'm trying to see I got Hedman earlier on. Those my oldest players, I guess so. Taylor Hall, I guess he's up there. Yeah, I'm happy with Giroux here. Even if he's on the top power play, he showed last year he could still get a ton of points. So I don't see any reason why he's going to slow down now. Over to Derek with plethora of options here.
And I've already said I'm a Leafs fan, and I'm on the podcast with the Ottawa fans, and I would embarrass myself trying to pick one of Ottawa's D to predict who's going to be the best there. I think the emotional, everyone's all up on Sanderson now, but I don't really know if that's this year or, an eventual future thing. And then I'm left with a couple great forwards that are, as has been noted, injury prone. I think I am just going to go with Vladimir Tarasenko here and hope that there's, I think of him as being a little older and a little injury prone, but he's still only 31, potentially due for a bounce back, hopefully, to set up the later stage of his career. I think it's my best choice at this point, without having a vision of the future for the potentially really good defense options that are available.
All right, so 20 rounds down. How many to go? 12 to go. Chris is going to start us off right here, just like he did at the very start. We've each now made 4 first-round picks. Let's take our final break here. Then when we come back, we'll whip through each of our final 2 firsts, Then also Chris and Patrick will get each a bonus first. So we'll be back in just a sec. All right, we are back. Chris, round 21. Where are we going?
So I'm going to go with Cole Caulfield on the Canadians. Again, goals and his shot, I think it's pretty firm. Before I finish my pick, I did want to ask a question to Derek. When you were talking about Ottawa and Sanderson, do you think that Sanderson has potential to be on the top power play this year? Or because I view it kind of as Chychrun or Shabbat, but I'm wondering if Sanderson has a chance.
So I am definitely possibly wrong in what I'm about to say, but I had heard that at the latter stages of last season, he was doing PP1, and I don't know if that's slated to continue, but I don't know. Every Ottawa fan who I have talked to about Sanderson has been very excited about him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like, I wasn't asked, but of course I'm going to jump in. I also know that I identify as an Ottawa fan, just saying. I have to cheer for someone aside from my fantasy team. I'm a fan. I'm going to be on the, like, if I don't say it now, I'll be on the bandwagon eventually. But yeah, I think Sanderson will be worth that contract. I have no idea, but like, I don't even know, like, is it going to be 2 split power plays? Is it going to be 1? Is it going to be 2 defensemen? Like, there's so many different permutations that I would be a little nervous about drafting either of the 3, but especially Sanderson, since his peripherals might be the lowest of the group. Like this is beyond a points only setup, but like as a late pick, like as a flyer, yeah, I would be interested. Okay, in Montreal though, Chris, I was almost going to take Montreal. Like, actually, I was deciding between Montreal and another team for my next pick, and you helped. I'm really thankful for you for making the decision easy. I'll take Nick Suzuki second, and that's easy. That's that.
Yeah, I think mine is easy too. There's obviously some young players on Montreal who could maybe do something this year. You know, Kirby Doc, Newhook, whatever, I don't know, Slavkovsky. But I think I'll just take my 5th defenseman here, Mike Matheson, who I think will probably get similar number of points as the 3rd leading scorer, assuming he can stay healthy. So I'll lock in Matheson and over to Derek.
I took defenseman in my first 2 picks, and I haven't taken one since. So I was going to grab Matheson here if it was available, but seeing as he's not, I'm going to go Kirby Doc. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
As a Leafs fan.
Wow, not a lot left. I'm going to actually go with Alex Newhook.
I mean, Doc worked out last year, so who knows what happens this year with Newhook. All right, Brian.
Okay. So that's pretty easy for me to now go to Detroit. And I'm gonna go with Dylan Larkin first. So Elon, another nice we got a lot of 1-2 punches, you and me. You're in a good spot this year.
I wonder, is it just like the NHL now has more 1-2 punches? I feel like no one's gotten like really like, how could you, like, you took Chicago even, and you took Bedard, and then I took Hall. That might be like the worst like 1-2. I mean, unless you consider like McDavid and Draisaitl, like 140 versus 120.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm looking like Bedard, Jack Hughes, Pasternak, Hurdle.
Also, like, I think
I'm
Bedard,
looking at,
Hall
going...
isn't that potentially bad, right? Like, if Hall's gonna be playing with Bedard, and like we don't even know what Bedard. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Some people are like Bedard 90 points. I could see it more like Bedard 70 and Hall 60. Like, it's not as bad as even like McDavid and Draisaitl.
I think there's some pretty big spreads, but like I've had Troy Terry, Clayton Keller, Buchnevich, and Larkin as my first pick. So those are like, nice. Like easy pairs for you. You're welcome.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous about the Keller Schmaltz just because of the injury risk. But okay, anyways, I won't be wasting people's time any longer. Give me DeBrincat. Hope he meshes well. I was going to say, hope he meshes better than he did in Ottawa, except I know then you would just jump in and say how he was just hitting a lot of posts and actually he was doing fine in Ottawa. So, okay, over to Derek.
I am going to get back on the defense train on this one. I will take Moritz Seider. Probably not going to be 3rd highest point getter on Detroit, but hopefully not going to be too far behind. And like I said, I need to catch up on the D count. Yeah. Really hoping for that. Really hoping for that second half Moritz Seider from last year and not first half.
All right, so that brings you now to 3 defensemen. So yeah, just need a couple more. Another person with 3 defensemen is Patrick. Who's up?
I will take Lucas Raymond.
Did you see the news that Raymond came into camp like weighing a lot more, like he's gotten stronger? Brian was laughing.
love
I don't
that
know. These are like
news.
the reasonable
No,
things
no,
to
I'm not
report, aren't
laughing.
they?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing like at the report and that the news is out there. I can't remember who wrote it. And like I'm bad this way at Twitter now because I'm not on it as much. But like someone's like, that's all like these kids who are putting on like 12 pounds. Someone was joking, like they carb load like coming into camp and then it's all burnt off like once they're working again. Like how often do you put on, I don't know how often we actually get the follow-up on these stories where someone who's like 19 or 20 puts on 12 pounds and never loses it again.
I mean, I guess I'm not a big bodybuilder. I know like sometimes you could just like get more muscular, but I haven't seen photos. I should have looked up photos of Lucas Raymond before the show, so I could have been a better journalist. Okay, Chris, last pick on Detroit here.
So not the happiest about having 5th for Detroit, but I'm going to take David Perron. I think what I can say about him that's good is he historically has been on the top power play for the teams he's been on. And hopefully he can get some assists and maybe some goals out of it.
Yeah, I think Perron's solid. He's someone who every year when we decide to discount him and say he's probably done, he has a good year. So maybe that'll just happen again. Okay, so now we're back to me. I think I like where I'm going to go here. I'll go to Columbus. No, I changed my mind. Okay, I won't go to Columbus. That would have been a good pick though, probably. But no, okay, sorry. This is making really good content. I'll go to Vegas. Give me Jack Eichel, especially since the next guy on the team that probably gets taken is like injury prone. So I put Derek in a tricky spot here. So I'll be interested to see what Derek says.
This is a nice, like after just started to jump in, but like after the talk of 1-2 punches, this is a team that second punch, we don't know if or who it will come from.
I mean, as someone who just drafted him after wasting an hour and a half deciding, I hope Marchessault turns out to be the best option here. Not that I'm wishing like any injuries on Mark Stone. I hope Marchessault does well with a healthy Stone.
Yeah, I am going to go Marchessault here. Mark Stone is a little too risky for me, I think. Given the history, someone's going to take him and it could end up paying off really well. But yeah, I'll take Marchessault and hopefully not to lose too much value.
And I'm going to take a defenseman, and I'm going to go with Pietrangelo.
Okay. I have to decide for a second. I thought it was going to be Mark Stone in that pick, so I was picking between the defensemen. So I will go Mark Stone here. I know there's concerns. He's probably the most polarizing player in the cupful, and he was, I think, previously too. There's been reports that I've heard anecdotally and seen some where he might never be the same, but the upside and the point, again, in points only, I think he's got to be my pick.
All right. And yeah, like with Mark Stone, I get the sense he's just going to be load managed for the playoffs the rest of his career. But I also would have taken him in your spot, but I'm not in your spot, and I'm going to take Chandler Stevenson and leave Shea Theodore out there. Yeah, Stevenson.
Who was the guy you talked about on the last episode that
Brett
you were
Howden.
Howden.
Yeah, he's also in the mix too, but not above Chandler Stevenson, not above Shea Theodore. Like when Barbashev, we didn't even mention either. But yeah. Chandler Stevenson's like he's a Verhaeghe type, right? Never had a chance until a team needed him to step up and gave him the opportunity, and bam! Like I don't think like last year was like he had some rough patches, and he still managed a 66-point pace. I remember there was a lot of talk at points if he was droppable because he doesn't shoot a whole lot. But yeah, I'm expecting a bit of a bounce back from Stevenson and think 70 points is possible. But of course, his fate is very much tied to Mark Stone's.
Well, speaking of bounce backs, I am going to hope for one from Johnny Gaudreau, and for the second round in a row, I'm taking the team that Elon mentioned but didn't go with. So yeah, Columbus, Johnny Gaudreau, and yeah, hopefully, not back up to 2 year ago heights. I'm not that deluded, but somewhere in that direction would be nice.
Over to Patrick.
You took Johnny Gaudreau. Patrick Laine for myself.
Okay. I'm actually pretty happy with this one. I'm gonna go defenseman here. I'm gonna go Zach Wierenski. I had him third anyway, just position regardless of position. So yeah, I could probably go with some youngsters in the vein of Wyatt Johnston here, but I'm only gonna take so many big swings.
All right. So that leaves me with, I think, a pretty obvious pick. I'm just checking out the depth chart again. I like cap friendly, by the way, for anybody wondering. Like, I just like the way they lay it out, and I know it's not exactly the way things are going to play out, but but cap friendly has a nice little depth chart function. And yeah, I'm gonna go Boone supports Mike Babcock Jenner, or at least publicly supports Mike. Like, that was such a weird thing. Columbus has to stop being the weird team if they want to find some success. So Boone Jenner seems like a pretty normal white bread kind of guy. So I'm hoping for he'll help my fantasy team. And Elon, I don't know if the 5th pick is harder than the 4th pick here.
Actually, everything's worked out exactly how I hoped it would, because I said Columbus, but then I remembered that I actually have a player I want from Columbus. And then I thought, like, why waste a Columbus pick when I could get this guy who I think is going to be good? According to the latest game day lines, he's been playing on a line with Gaudreau, which you can't really complain with too much. He's also been producing. And also, I think in a lot of years where Bedard wasn't drafted, Adam Fantilli would be the guy that everyone would be talking about going into the season as like the likely Calder winner, So anyway, give me Fantilli, and I'm excited to see how this pays out. I think that, I was talking about like Twitter before. I have fun seeing what people say. I'm not saying I make all of my fantasy decisions that way, but after what Fantilli's last preseason game or whatever, I saw some tweets of like, Fantilli's actually going to be better than Bedard this year. And like, I don't think it's going to go that far, but might be closer than people think. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe I blew it. But it's like, who else was it going to take anyways?
Fantilli potentially has the benefit of better line mates and maybe a better power play group. Individually, everyone's, on board with Bedard, but yeah, for as far as the situation goes for a not first overall pick, it's pretty good for him potentially.
Yeah. All right, Patrick, round 25.
Let's go to Los Angeles. I will take Kempe.
I will go with Kevin Fiala.
Okay. And I guess that means that I'm going to go with Anze Kopitar, 36 years old, still chugging along. I think he can keep up like reasonably well with Kempe. I don't know if Fiala will leave them in their dust, but yeah, I'll go with Kopitar. Boom.
All right, pretty easy for me. Give me Pierre-Luc Dubois. See how he does. Kind of fun to have Dubois and Brinkett, 2 people on new teams. Normally I get a little nervous about that, but not with a 4th pick here on LA. Over to Derek. Derek, you still need 2 defensemen. You gonna grab one here?
No, but I'd consider it. I think instead I'm gonna take Victor Arvidsson. And this not happy about picking 5th here. I could have gone down to Doughty, but I think I'll take Arvidsson.
All right. So Chris, you're second last first. The rest of us, aside from you and Patrick, only have 1 left.
So I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna go with the New York Rangers. I'm gonna take Mika Zibanejad.
It's apparently
Okay.
day to day. That's the latest news. But I mean, we have like a few weeks to go before the season starts, so probably nothing to be concerned about. But just doing the reporting.
I feel like the more day to day we see in training camp is like the more like encouraged we should be that like teams are taking like player health and not like, yeah, like let's push it in training camp and preseason. Easy for me too. I will take because I have my 5 defensemen. I'll take Tyson. Nope, not Tyson Berry. Still on the brain. Artemi Panarin.
Man, now I feel bummed that I already have my 5 defensemen. Who do I even have?
Right?
Why did I take? I don't know. Who did I take? I shouldn't have taken Devin Taves on Colorado. I should have taken Nichushkin probably if I would have known. Big drop off here for the Rangers, I think. yeah, I guess I'll go Kreider. I guess is probably the next best choice. Okay, Derek. Easy pick for you.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. I'm incredibly happy to get Fox here. Although I as I understood the rules, we weren't limited to 5D. You could have still taken Fox if you wanted there, I think.
Yeah, I
right?
could have. I guess I probably should have actually. I don't know. That was dumb. I actually wasn't really thinking. I wasn't using my brain.
Well, I did make you take Dallas before and sniped you on Columbus. So if you want to take back, I guess we could let it happen. But if
Yeah,
not,
I
I'll
think
keep
it-
Fox.
Friends. That's so
that
nice.
is nice. I think I would. Yeah, I would definitely, because I think I see Fox as like a 70-point guy, and I see Kreider as like a, I don't know, like 60 maybe. If maybe he's also injury prone. So yeah, I apologize, and I appreciate. Okay, so Derek, sorry, but
All right. Well, now I'm very upset that you took Adam Fox, and I will take. Oh yeah, I'll take Kreider.
okay.
And
I'm
that
blown
leaves
away.
me with Vincent Trocheck.
mean,
Okay.
A couple years ago,
That's-
people would have been excited with him. Maybe he
yeah,
can bounce
that's
back.
Still not a bad 5.
Don't you
Potentially
think,
great line mates if he stays healthy. You know, he's done well there.
I'll just throw out, since we're talking about the Rangers again, super early, but the line combinations we've been seeing so far have Blake Wheeler on a line with Panarin and Zibanejad. So one of Brian's favorites. Don't forget about Blake Wheeler, maybe at the end of your drafts. But Brian, you get to pick one of your favorites right now because it's your pick.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the team that's left. I mean, obviously, we're all okay with picking late on all the remaining teams. So I think I'm just going to go for the player who I think is going, well, yeah. I'm going to go with the player who I think will outplay the second guy by the most, and that's Tage Thompson over in Buffalo.
Yeah, well, another
There's your D situation again.
another one again. Like I didn't need to I guess worry too much about getting D earlier because Dahlin is incredible and probably the pick, to be honest. Yeah. Give me Dahlin here. Now I've got 7D like a dummy. Over to Derek.
No, this
right,
is
Fox-
actually
Fox-
you forget. This is
Fox
how I
was
won.
the-
This is how I
Fox
won
was the-
those early years. I would always end up with I would pick the D even when I didn't need to.
Fox was a clear pick Elon should have made last round. This time he didn't have to take Dahlin. Come on, you could have let me have him this time. But no, I am gonna take a forward. I'm not gonna go further down the D chart here. I'll take Alex Tuck with my pick.
I'd be curious to know actually what people think about Tuck. He's going pretty high in a couple drafts. He had an incredible year last year if you go by pace. Like, I guess
Elon, you've never been a Tuck believer.
Well,
Like
that's true.
I'm a Tuck believer.
Yeah, he had 79 points last year in 74 games. You pace it out, that's 88-point pace. Before that, he'd never had more than 52 points, and he's missed time every year.
Remember in Vegas, he was buried, like he was outside the top 6, like when that franchise started. And even in Buffalo, he didn't quite get up to like a full start right away. And he shot only 8% in his first season, which is like, he probably could have scored another 10 goals in the
honestly, Brian, yeah. I'm not so concerned about like how good he is. Like it's more the injuries. Like I'm just worried about how he never plays a full season, and just makes me nervous to take him like people were taking with like their 3rd or 4th pick, where I was getting like Line A and whatever, like Forsberg, who also gets injured a lot. I guess all these guys get injured a lot, but at least they like have a track record of being stars in the league. Like, so it's not like I'm not a Tuck believer, but I think there's like some risk here. But I mean, not to disparage Derek's pick. Like I think he's a good pick here in this draft. I just don't know about like 3rd, 4th round in a cupful. But maybe this will be like the Jason Robertson from last year, where people got him late. Like, you know, maybe at the time it seems like, oh, it's kind of a reach, and then he'll turn out to be like incredible. It's definitely possible. All right, Patrick's turn.
And I'm going to take Jeff Skinner here.
I think I know who Chris is going to take.
I'm going with Dylan Cousins. I think he is the obvious choice for me.
Yeah, he's the obvious. He's also young, which seems to be what you like. So yeah, that's not shocking that you'd go Cousins. And yeah, he's also someone that some people are super high on. I'm really curious to see how this season goes for him after breakout last year, like Tuck. All right, over to me. At this point, most of the teams like are just like kind of similar down the board. You know what? I'm gonna do a favor for Derek because he's been nice to me and he still needs a couple more defensemen. He told me about the Fox thing, so fine. I'm gonna take Kyle Connor on Winnipeg, so you can go grab a pretty solid defenseman there.
All right, that I was maybe getting a little too happy thinking you might go to a different team, but oh, I don't even know if I don't even know if I can do it. You set me up for it, but I don't even know. Let me just think for a second here.
Think of who you're gonna end up with.
He needs
I'm sure I can-
he
I'm-
needs two defensemen.
Yeah.
I can scrounge. I'm gonna press my luck a little further here, and I'm gonna take Mark Scheifele with the second pick on Winnipeg.
I love the boldness of that, Derek, because like you pick first next. So like I'm excited to
We'll
see
see how it goes.
if you have to go. You have 4 chances left to grab a D. I want to know. You could have locked one in now. And okay, all right. Next
Patrick
pick.
also needs a D.
I'm so
Are you gonna
excited.
take it?
And he locks it in. Josh Morrissey.
Yeah,
Right.
like that's that's an easy 1/3 for sure.
But I mean, I think that it's a reasonable to expect Scheifele could be like 80 and Morrissey could be like 60 or 55. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's a pretty big dip.
It's still the spread for
But
sure.
we'll see. We'll see what other D are available. All right, over to Chris, who also needs a D. You could take Neil Pionk if you want.
Good. I'm probably going to stay away on this one. I'm going to go with Nicola Ehlers. I think from a points perspective, he's the obvious one.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you were gonna like Wyatt Johnston this one and go for like Velarde or Perfetti. And
Come on,
I don't
Brian,
know.
take a young player for once in your life.
Well, I'm
Come
gonna take
on.
Velarde or Perfetti, but I just don't know which one. Like I don't think that I haven't seen any indicators that one is more locked in than another in like a good spot in the lineup. You know what? I've been pretty down on Velarde, but his deployment seems like it's going to be really good. Okay, I'll go Velarde, I guess. I don't love it, but I'll go with him.
I think I would have gone Perfetti. Curious, what about the rest of you? Who would you have gone with? Like Chris.
Absolutely Velarde.
Oh, you'd have gone
Like
Velarde.
I think Perfetti has the Perfetti has
Chris
the
says Perfetti.
upside, but I think he's going to be stuck at 2C, which isn't like stuck, but like it's a big job. 21 years old, carrying a lot, like not carrying a line, but working as a centerman. So that was sort of my thinking.
We'll see. Okay. I think, yeah. Okay. We don't have to dive too deep into it. Okay. All right. 4 picks to go. Derek, you've got your last first coming up right now.
Yeah, it's on me, and I'm delaying the punishment a little bit further here, I guess. But I'm going to take Calgary and another bounce back candidate. Give me Jonathan Huberdeau.
Did not go D first.
No, he gave me a gift. I'm taking I can't get the thing to work. Lindholm. Elias Lindholm is fine. Thank you very much for that.
All right, Chris.
I'm going to go
You
with
still moved
Kadri.
Z. Oh, sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
Nazem Kadri. That's who I'm going with.
All right, you're also pushing your D. to
Huh,
the end.
yeah, I actually thought you were definitely gonna go ahead and grab the defenseman there, but you didn't. So I will. I'll take Rasmus Anderson. I think that's like Calgary is actually the team that I didn't like, the one remaining team that I really didn't want to pick 5th on. So Elon, I'm curious to see where you go with this.
Yeah, I think you could have fun and go with like a Sharon Govich who's been playing with Huberdeau, but I won't, because I mean he could easily get bumped so quickly. So just give me Backlund. I think he's solid, 50 points. Set your watch to it. He had a really good end to last season. I know we talked about on the episode that you think it's like for sure not sustainable, but we've seen that he has the potential to get more points. So who knows? Maybe he could do it again for us. All right, Patrick, you start the next round. Your last first pick.
Who do we have left?
All right, yeah, let's set the table here. We
I
got
have
the Islanders.
the
We've got-
Islanders. Oh, sorry, Elon, you're ready. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, let's set the table here. Yeah, 3 rounds to go. the Islanders, Seattle, and Pittsburgh. So that's who you're choosing from, Patrick.
Pittsburgh. And I will take Sidney Crosby.
Okay.
Chris needs a D.
Yeah, I do. And this is why I was holding off before, because I felt like either with my top pick, I could go with Pittsburgh and prioritize the podcast namesake, or potentially have Letang fall. So I'm going to go with Erik Karlsson.
Okay.
Brian, did I mention on the show? I think I said in my intro, I've got Karlsson in couple this year.
You're keeping Karlsson.
You know
What's
what?
happening?
When I won tier 1 a couple years ago, I had Karlsson on my team. I named my team Not Even Close. I had a picture of Karlsson eating the apple from that press conference. It was great. And then last year, I loved my team name so much that I kept it. And then I did terribly. And I realized I was being punished because you're not supposed to have a team name about a player that's not on your team. I guess it's been fine for Derek, who maybe doesn't have Tavares every year, and he still names his team after that. But
like
this
the
year,
player's name wasn't in the, like, I think it was still like a vibe. You were capturing a vibe. I don't think
well, it didn't work for me.
Okay.
It didn't work.
Maybe
So
that's
I'm going
why.
back. Yeah, I'm going back to what works, because now I could keep my team name that I like and it can be real. So I'm happy to have Karlsson in IRL. This is also IRL, but yeah, Chris gets him in this draft. Brian, you're up. That's a fun
All
choice
right.
for you, actually, Brian.
Yeah. Well, I can go Gensel or I can go Malkin. And I think I'm gonna go Gensel, even though like he's gonna miss a few games at the start of the season. There's still a pretty decent chance that Malkin misses as many or more age 37. So yeah, give me Jacob Gensel, please.
Okay, I'll go Malkin. It's funny, like it's like Gensel's injured, but we still probably expect that Malkin will, play fewer games. Although Malkin did have a healthy season last year, so maybe he could do it again. Him and Karlsson would be pretty sweet for the Penguins, and for my Tristan Jarry bet, it would be nice if they could be healthy. All right, Derek, okay. This is easy. Don't do something crazy now, right?
Well, I will round out this team of 5 offensive injury-prone players with Chris Letang. And it'll be interesting to see how the Karlsson Letang dynamic ice time split, opportunity split goes. A lot of people, acknowledge that Karlsson didn't jive the greatest with Burns and the opportunity splitting there. So hopefully they can both get some good offense this year.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance that Letang is going to be like underrated in fantasy for drafts, because like if he's still on the top power play, like he could still get his, right? Like he could be similar to how he's been in the past. We'll see how it works out, but I think a lot of people are fading him hard, and I could see him still being solid. Of course, it's the injury risk still that you have to worry about. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 more rounds. We've all had the same number of firsts, so what we decided to end it is we'll just do our first round order again to start, and then the last round we'll just like reverse that order and go backwards. So I'm gonna get third in each of the next 2 rounds. But Chris, you get to start off this round here.
So I'll stay on brand with the youth, and I'm going to go with the Seattle Kraken and take Matty Beniers.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and take Jared McCann, who I think Beniers, I don't know who has the better upside, actually. Like I was going to take McCann first if I started with Seattle, so I'm happy with this, but I also don't know, like as Elon has called me out, like I stray from excitement, both in fantasy and my real life.
I think I would have gone Beniers. Like, just I'm curious to see what he could do for take 2. After a really strong rookie season. But anyway, now it's like kind of tough. I think Burakovsky's the clear pick. What's his health situation? Let me just go to GameDayTweets.com, search for Burakovsky, see what's our latest here. There's a tweet saying, "Are you ready for the return of Burakovsky?" And then it's like an interview that I have to click a video to watch.
Yeah, but the emoji is like the snorty face, like the like I'm ready.
Okay, so that sounds like he's ready then. So I'll go with Andrei Burakovsky. All right, so Derek, that's a nice little gift for you now to get your last defenseman.
Yeah, thanks for not handicapping me there by taking Vince Dunn ahead of me. I will take him, and that's my 5th required D. So getting him in the second last round here is not too bad.
Not too bad. So we've all met our quota, so we could all
did
do
it.
what we want.
Yeah.
I've met it +2. All right, so Patrick, you can finish off this round, and then you're going to start off the last round.
Okay, let's go with Mr. Tovalin for my pick there from Seattle.
Yeah, that was incredible last year what Tolvanen did after getting waived. I'm sure it's going to be fun for him for the rest of his career to try to make Nashville regret that. All right, so yeah, who are you going to go now with for your final pick from the Islanders?
Oh Lord.
I mean, not so bad.
Some decent options.
Bo Horvat. I mean, let's not overcomplicate things.
All right, Derek.
I'm happy to take Barzal here. I don't have a lot of confidence about who's going to end up being on top, but I think it definitely could be him.
Yeah, I think this then becomes pretty easy for me. I'll take Brock Nelson, just steady 65-ish point guy year in, year out, sometimes a little better.
I missed something. Like, I'm so confused, but I think I get why the order is this way, but like I was not at all.
Yeah, we talked about it in the group chat, but you've had a busy weekend sole parenting, so it's reasonable that you missed it. But yeah, for the last 2 rounds, we're just going one way and then the other way. Since
okay, so I guess for me it's Dobson or Lee or Palmieri. I don't know.
Don't take Palmieri.
I'm so tired of waiting on Anders Lee. Well, yeah, Palmieri is just like the completest like approach. Man, I don't like this at all. I thought I was gonna have Brock Nelson. Okay. I'll go. I don't know. I'll go Dobson. I'll take Dobson.
Okay, that's solid. 50-ish, maybe 60. I think you'll be okay there.
I think his upside might be higher than Anders Lee, but like I don't actually know.
I think it's the right choice.
Yeah.
But let's see. Well, Chris, are you disappointed or happy to get Lee?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Anders Lee. Even as a Devils fan, I can't go with Palmieri here. And I did have this team circled as one that I didn't want to get the last pick for, but I do, maybe more than some. I think Anders Lee might be able to bounce back. Again, not the most offensive team, but I gotta have some hope.
Yeah, hey, Bo Horvat is good on the power play. So maybe he helps Barzal, maybe he helps Lee. Should be fun. Maybe helps Dobson, helps everyone. Oh, I mean, we hope. I guess those are the 5, right? We've just named the top power play. So I think they should all be pretty good. All right, this has been a blast. We did it. We made it through all the teams. We're only 10 minutes behind schedule here. So I think we should all be very proud of ourselves. One of us will be especially proud of ourselves when we win this sucker. I guess we did this last year. I don't think we had ever announced who won that. I don't even know who won it, but this year we'll remember.
Well, I think we can even follow it during the year too. And, it's easy to track as we go. So
yeah, we'll throw it up on Fantrax and we'll be able to follow it as we go for sure. Tweet us at Keeping Karlsson. Let us know what you think. Oh yeah, I guess let's share a link to this spreadsheet so everyone can see the final teams. Brian, what do you think? KeepingKarlsson.com/draft. I feel like that's already going somewhere else. We always change it.
Is it going to last year?
Okay, I'm going there.
What about one? What about one per team?
Last year, it's going to the holiday draft of less than 50% owned.
I won that one. That was fun. All right, so yeah, we can replace that. So keepingkarlsson.com/draft will now go here. You can check it out. Brian will link to it in the show notes. And yeah, you can let us know on Twitter at Keeping Karlsson who you think won. If you're on the Discord, we'd love to hear from you in the KK episode discussion channel. What you think about our teams? What were the worst picks? What were the best picks? The most perplexing? Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week, Brian, another classic. We've got our tier 1 couple auction draft live commentary. You've locked in Michael Clifford once again. It's going to be great. It's the first time that you and I are both going to be available to do commentary, which is sad, but also fun. So I think we're going to have a really good time. So make sure you're subscribed to Keeping Karlsson wherever you get your podcasts. So you'll get that. I think we've got more short shifts coming, for next week. We'll figure that out. If you're subscribed, you don't even have to worry about it. You'll just check your phone every day and see if there's a new episode downloaded for you. That's how it goes. Okay, if you could leave us a 5-star review, I always appreciate that. If you want to play in the Keeping Karlsson Ultimate Patron Fantasy League, you could sign up for the wait list. I don't know if you're going to get into a league for drafting, but it's possible. But come hang out in our community anyways, become a patron. We'd appreciate it. Help support the show. We have a fun group. And then also you'd still be pretty early in the wait list, at least for when someone bails from their team midway through. Like Brian said, we have 600 plus people. Even if only 1% bail, that's still, enough that there might be some spot. And there's probably more 3%. Who am I kidding? But I think even if you're doing badly, you should still, manage your team and do your best. I feel like there's always something to play for in a head-to-head league. You could at least be a spoiler for someone else. But anyway, blah, blah. Also, thanks so much to our awesome guests for coming. So once again, I guess I'll just throw it out. If anyone has anything to plug, Derek, anything you want people to check out?
No, I'm just encourage everyone, if you're on the fence about it, become a patron, join the Discord community. It's really fun. Really enjoyed my time in it so far, and happy to be playing again in Couple this season.
Wow,
Oh,
just
thanks so
like
much.
jumping, reclaiming all that space you lost on the friend list from going Dallas with that one comment.
No, it worked out. I got Pavelski. I'm not mad.
It's true, it worked out
It's
really
all
well.
fine.
Thanks, Derek.
Patrick,
That's so nice.
Any final proselytizing about schedules or anything else?
No. We're not going to do that. I just want to encourage people to get into their allied chats. I think it's a game changer. If you're not using them, you're just handicapping your season.
Yeah, you have a chance at the very least. We're all sharing like what people are getting picked in the other leagues, so you get a chance to kind of see how the other drafts are going by chatting with those people that are getting the same pick as you. And then finally, Chris, first appearance on the podcast. This was awesome. Anything you want to tell people to look at before we let you go?
No, just thank you for having me. I echo about the allied chats. They're amazing. If you're scared to jump in, just do it. It's great to bounce ideas off people. And yeah, I guess I just became the Wyatt Johnston guy.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to know. Every time now Johnston does something, we bring him up on the show, we'll be mentioning you and how you took him in this draft. All right. Well, I mean, that's pretty sweet for us, Brian, that I'm like throwing to our guests to ask them to promote anything they're working on, and they all promote the Patreon. I'll take it. Feel free next time we have a guest, you could promote your, I don't know, business or whatever. I don't know who has a business nowadays. What does that even mean that I just said? Okay, Brian, I'm done. Let's cue the outro music. Why don't you go ahead and read us the credits?
All right. This episode of the Keeping Karlsson Fantasy Hockey Podcast was presented by Dobber Hockey and powered by our patrons, including our super supporters, Patty, Ricard, Max, Rob, David, Derek, Ryan, Tom, Zachary, Andrea, Sammy, Ivan, Aaron, Patrick, Don, and our newest one, Roman. Thank you all for your additional support. Patreon.com/Keeping Karlsson for more information on how you can keep us
Keep the lights on.
Yeah, keep the lights on. That's I was gonna say keep us fed, but like we're doing
we'll
okay. Keep yourself fed
no pressure.
first, for sure. Thank you to our couple coordinator and automation expert Kevin Haybear, who has just been crushing it, even while away at a seemingly from the Draft Fix channel, an extremely fun weekend. So way to go, Kevin. Thank you. Thanks to the Short Shifts team, Shams, Lewis, and Jeremy, who are cooking up some great stuff. Thanks to the GameDayTweets.com team, Elon, that's you, and Shams. Logo art by BrandonWeeb.com. Outro music by Pat Roach. This episode was researched with help from Dobber Hockey, Frozen Tools, Dobber Prospects, Natural Stat Trick, Evolving Hockey, Cap Friendly, The Athletic, HockeyGoalies.org, Hockey Reference, Hockey Viz, Hockey Database, Lead Prospects. I'll throw in Fantrax, I'll throw in Yahoo, and I'll throw in like all the projection guides that like I'm not necessarily referencing directly in this show, but that I'm referencing constantly. Apples and Ginos, Dom's Sheet, Dauber, Cullen, Steve Laidlaw. Thank you to all of you and the others that I haven't managed to mention. You're all the greatest.
Yeah, I also have hashtag hockey. They released a good set. Okay, so yeah, that was fun. Thanks again, everyone. Brian, by the way, remember at the beginning of the show where you asked me who I was considering when I took Marchessault with that last pick?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say because the player hadn't been taken. This player has been taken now. It was a Valerie Nichushkin, and Davey B took Nichushkin. And so I don't know. Did I blow it? What do you think, Brian?
I think
go either way, right?
Yeah, I think you're fine. I think that I don't think that's one you should lose sleep over, like the Forsberg Bedard thing.
I don't think you should lose sleep over that unless Forsberg gets injured game one. Then maybe you'll be like, I should have known.
Well, I wouldn't even be mad. Honestly, that would be okay. Like an injury, I can't predict that. That's fine.
Fair. Okay. Dauber would say that. I think he said on the show, like you could set your watch to a Forsberg injury.
Right.
I took him too, so we're in this together. This is the year. Last year worked out for Malkin and Letang, right? Or not Letang. Sorry. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching, listening, however you consumed this show. We'll see you at the tier 1 auction draft next week and maybe some short shifts in between. Brian, while we wait for that, and we're waiting for our picks in these couple slow drafts, which I know for some people is very excruciating. By the way, can I just to all the people who are really upset that you're like having to wait a lot for your picks, keep in mind that like at some point, all the people whose drafts have gone faster are going to be over, and you're going to be the last person having fun, and you'll be dominating your allied chat, asking for advice, and we'll all just be here with nothing else to do but to give you advice. So, glass half full, right? It'll be fine. You'll be done in time, and you'll have more time to get more news and get more advice, and we'll all be jealous of you that you're still drafting. But while we're all waiting for all these things, Brian, anything else we should be doing in the meantime?
Yeah, you should know by now, Elon. Come on. That
It was rhetorical. I knew what you would say.
do all you can to make sure that fantasy hockey is for everyone.
Sweet. Thanks everyone. This was awesome. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it right.
great show, great game.
Thanks. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how it turns out. At some point, I could throw this up on Fantrax. We could all keep track. Oh, and then we could throw that in the show notes later on. I don't think I'm gonna get to that tonight though. But
Yeah,
we'll post it in the
not
Discord.
urgent.
Yeah. All right. See you everyone. Have a good night. Good luck.
Thanks
night.
everyone for being here
See ya.
and jumping on with us. That was really awesome.
Definitely. Oh, and
Nice to
everyone's
meet you,
live.
Chris and
You all
Patrick.
did great.
Likewise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Really appreciate it.